Little Mecha Merchant. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction. So don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 176 What Happened to the Promised Enjoyment? After the parts launch event, Wild Wolf Enterprises' reputation soared. The parts data and performance were undeniable, and the standardized nature of the parts created a buzz, attracting many mecha pilots. That very night, Bar 12 became a haven for Wild Wolf parts. Not buying Wild Wolf parts was practically throwing money away. This alone instantly elevated Wild Wolf parts to prestigious status. Mecha pilots now believe that without Wild Wolf parts, even the most skilled pilots were essentially outmatched. This further boosted Wild Wolf's reputation. By the next day, long queues of mecha pilots were waiting to buy Wild Wolf parts. Meanwhile, Lin Ming also brought good news. The acquisition of Shanky Parts Factory had gone smoothly, without any obstacles. Several mysterious figures had even appeared, practically handing it over to them. With a string of good news, Suyinru couldn't stop smiling. After acquiring Shanky Parts Factory, Wild Wolf Enterprises officially announced that its total assets had exceeded 10 billion, instantly becoming a large-scale enterprise. This was a goal that countless companies dreamed of but could hardly achieve, yet they accomplished it so easily. Putting all that aside, simply investing 2 million to acquire a 40% stake in the defunct Wild Wolf Company was enough to make her the most successful investor. 10 billion, even just a 40% stake, was a multiplier compared to 2 million. If word got out, Suyinru's reputation as a business prodigy would be undeniable. However, compared to Yang Hong, her reputation was still somewhat weaker, because the miracle of Wild Wolf was almost entirely created by Yang Hong. And turning 2 million into 10 billion took less than 3 months. Yang Hong, you really are a genius. Suyinru's eyes sparkled as she looked at Yang Hong. HMPH Yang Hong hummed. Suddenly, he remembered something and couldn't help but show a shy expression. Have you forgotten something? Forgot what? Suyinru blinked. His Yang Hong gasped. Had the little girl changed her mind? He quickly rubbed his right index finger and thumb together. What do you mean? Suyinru asked, puzzled. Money. 100 million, Yang Hong said curtly. Oh, Suyinru slapped her forehead. She had promised Yang Hong 100 million. Okay, the company account wasn't short of funds, and Yang Hong was a parts designer, so he deserved a reward. Suyinru quickly transferred 100 million to Yang Hong's account. What about the supplement fee? Yang Hong asked. When Weihang Parts Factory tried to reconcile, they had given a supplement fee, but the little girl had confiscated it, saying the company was short of money. Now that the company account had money, shouldn't that be returned? This money was a supplement fee contributed by Weihang Parts Factory. It should be given to him personally, not confiscated by the company. No problem, Suyinru transferred another 100 million. Huh? Yang Hong was stunned. Why was the little girl so agreeable? Yang Hong, look how well our Wild Wolf parts are selling. Shouldn't we speed things up and design some other styles? Suyinru asked with a grin. Yang Hong's lips twitched. She really hadn't planned anything good. She wanted him to stay locked up in the dark designing parts. No way. With money, Yang Hong's only thought was to go crazy and have some fun. No, wait, to go crazy eating. It seemed like he couldn't find anything more enjoyable than eating. Seeing Yang Hong remain silent for a while, Suyinru's face darkened. Yang Hong, this is the growth phase for Wild Wolf Enterprise. If we don't cooperate and design more mecha parts, we'll be eliminated by other parts manufacturers sooner or later. Then, making money won't be easy. Really? Yang Hong rolled his eyes, unconcerned. Wild Wolf Enterprises' current output value had reached 10 billion. Even if they couldn't make any more money, he didn't believe they wouldn't have enough. For him, enough money to enjoy life was enough. Truly enough. He really couldn't think of anywhere to spend too much money. Damn it. The furthest place on this planet, besides the Mecha junkyard, is Haiyang City. Right now, Yang Hong just wants to go further and see more. Of course, he needs a good nap first to recharge. You don't actually want to go back to sleeping, do you? Suyinru suddenly frowned and asked. Yes, yes, Yang Hong nodded with a smile. Don't even think about it, Su Yinru snapped, her face darkening instantly. Your most important task right now is to design more new parts for the company. Our production line can't only produce 3 types of parts, and our future part launches can't always only sell those 3 types. Yang Hong shrugged and remained silent. Soon you'll be entering District 32 Academy. I estimate you'll need to stay there for at least a year. If you don't design more parts now, a year will be enough for other part manufacturers to surpass us, Su Yinru said. A year? Yang Hong was surprised. He only wanted to browse the library at District 32 Academy. Did it really take a year? Besides, he was planning to have some fun. If you were really locked up in the academy for a year, he would definitely apply for withdrawal. Su Yinru ignored Yang Hong's thoughts, reached out and grabbed him, dragged him to the studio, shoved him inside, and locked the door. Tears welled up in Yang Hong's eyes. He had finally survived the parts launch event, finally had some money, and now he was locked in a dark room and couldn't get out. What kind of enjoyment was this? Looking at the empty surroundings, Yang Hong had no choice but to summon the devouring worm again and design more than 10 parts at the fastest speed. This time, the devouring worm not only produced engineering parts drawings, but also several parts drawings for firearms. In just 2 days, all the drawings were finally turned into blueprints. Yang Hong hurriedly called over the little girl. I have designed more than 10 parts. Yang Hong excitedly handed over the electronic notebook. Really? Su Yinru took the parts suspiciously, examined them for a while, then nodded. Not bad, not bad. More than 10 different parts, and none of them are duplicates. Very good. Can I leave now? Yang Hong perked up. Leave? No, Su Yinru shook her head. It's only been a few days. With this time, you need to continue designing more part drawings, just in case. What? Yang Hong was dumbfounded. Wasn't it agreed that he could leave after designing the part drawings? When did I agree to that? Su Yinru looked at him like he was an idiot. Before receiving the notice from Haiyang Academy, you must do everything in your power to design more types of part drawings. The future of Wild Wolf Enterprise depends on these part drawings. Is this some kind of joke? Yang Hong looked miserable. What happened to the promised enjoyment? Chapter 177 Notification Letter, Part 1. Yang Hong wasn't one to be trifled with. Locked in a dark room? Fine. He wanted to sleep anyway. So he slept in the studio, practically sleeping through the night. Su Yinru brought him his meals. The first day, she thought Yang Hong was just tired and didn't pay much attention, even putting a coat on him. The second day, the third day, it was the same every day, and she was so angry her eyes almost popped out. Yang Hong, Su Yinru roared, grabbing Yang Hong awake. What is it? Yang Hong opened his bleary eyes and rubbed them. Why aren't you continuing to design the accessory drawings? Su Yinru pointed to the blank electronic notebook. Did I already design more than 10? Yang Hong grumbled. There's still plenty of time, you can continue designing. Su Yinru's eyes blazed with fury. You really think design is like cabbage, something you can just come and do as you please? Yang Hong continued grumbling. Go find Old Song, or Principal Fang, and ask them if that's how it is. It seemed that was indeed the case. Su Yinru blinked twice. However, the next moment she realized something. Old Song was Old Song, Principal Fang was Principal Fang, but who was Yang Hong? He was the one who created miracles in 3 months. For him, component design was truly cabbage. In just 2 days, he produced more than 10 component design drawings, and none of them were duplicates. Why couldn't he continue designing? And looking at Yang Hong sleeping all day, it was obvious he was slacking off. Su Yinru's face darkened. Can I go out now? Yang Hong asked. He'd been locked up for days, doing nothing but eating and sleeping. Now that he finally had some money, he desperately wanted to go out and enjoy himself, even if it was just eating and drinking. At least he could eat and drink whatever he wanted. Thinking of this, Yang Hong glanced sideways at the food the little girl had brought. It was a big pot of noodles with vegetables, topped with slices of meat. He was getting tired of eating noodles every day. Actually, Su Yinru wanted to try something different, but she had been incredibly busy lately, and the celebration party had almost used up all the food they had saved. Not just Yang Hong, but even she, and practically all the employees of Wild Wolf Enterprise, unless they were on leave, were eating noodles almost every day. Leaving aside the huge orders from the royal court, the lines of people buying spare parts were incredibly long. and the employees were working overtime on the production line every day. Sending food? Where was this place? This was a mecha junkyard. There were only a handful of places that would send food, and even number 12 was constantly engaged in gambling, with so many mecha pilots that they couldn't even supply their own needs. How could they possibly care about Wild Wolf Enterprise? Sending them vegetable noodles was already a favor to Su Yinru. Of course, Su Yinru was Gu Fenggren's adopted daughter, so she would naturally give her special treatment and send her nice things, but Su Yinru didn't have the time to deal with that. Besides, the Wild Wolf Enterprises restaurant hadn't been built yet, all the land was used for the company's expansion, so there was no spare land. Faced with Yang Hong's question, Su Yinru said with a dark face, "No, why?" Yang Hong stood up abruptly and glared back. Principal Fang said he'd be notifying us in a few days. What if you weren't there? Su Yinru said seriously. District 32 Academy isn't a place you can just get into whenever you want. It's a rare opportunity, so we have to seize it. Okay, Yang Hong gave in, but he still wanted to leave this dark room. Can't I stay in the mecha junkyard? Okay, Su Yinru nodded. Really? Yang Hong's eyes lit up. Really? Su Yinru said, but you have to help out at the company during this time. You can't go out. Seeing that Yang Hong had lost all interest in design, it was better for him to help out outside. Although they had hundreds of employees, it wasn't enough. One more person was always better. She was too lazy to take the time to cook noodles for Yang Hong. No problem, Yang Hong assured her, patting his chest. On the first day, facing the group of mecha pilots, Yang Hong maintained an excited demeanor. Leaving the small, dark room, he was naturally full of energy and enthusiastic about everything. The second day, the third day, Yang Hong's face almost fell. What was going on? Why were the mecha pilots acting like madmen, lining up every day to find dragons, wanting to buy every mecha part imaginable? Yang Hong was puzzled. He was so puzzled that he wanted to close the door and wave his hand. Today's a holiday, he believed the employees would be looking forward to it. However, the reality was that the employees were all working feverishly without complaint. If they were given a holiday, they would probably spit on Yang Hong. Because Su Yinru had declared that wages were tied to performance during this period, the more parts produced and sold, the higher the wages. A holiday? That meant no income. For the employees, it was better to just get fired, at least it would be more satisfying. Day after day, time seemed to stand still. One day, a whooshing sound echoed through the sky as a flying mech landed. Stepping out was the Vice Dean of Haiyang Academy. Seeing the bustling scene at the Wild Wolf Parts Center, he was first taken aback, then smiled. Self-production and self-sales, not only in Haiyang City, but even in the entire 32nd district, only the Wild Wolf Parts Center at the mech junkyard sold Wild Wolf parts. As for other parts centers, they couldn't even dream of it. Having experienced a blacklisting by the 5 major parts centers in Haiyang, Su Yinru increasingly valued self-production and self-sales. Rather than entrusting the fate of her parts center to others, she preferred to take direct control. Although this meant less profit and more difficulty in expanding her reputation, Wild Wolf Enterprises was already a behemoth with assets exceeding 10 billion. And reputation? They were using the Wild Wolf Gang's name. Did they need to worry about their reputation? The Wild Wolf Gang was handling everything for them. This visit was merely to deliver a notice, nothing significant, so the vice president had informally informed Yang Hong and the others, not even Song Shuming. Upon seeing him arrive, Su Yinru quickly sent people to greet him. Entering the Wild Wolf Parts Center and seeing the scene inside, the vice president smiled and stroked his beard. Your business is getting better and better, good my foot. Yang Hong was the first to express his dissatisfaction. The vice president was surprised. Look, only about 100 people. Hiring even one more would be a problem. Why? The vice president was puzzled. Yang Hong sighed. He'd been incredibly busy lately. He wanted to hire people, but they'd all emptied their savings. Bought Wild Wolf parts, and headed straight to bar number 12. While making money at bar number 12 wasn't easy, plenty of idiots flocked there. If you spotted someone without Wild Wolf parts, you could easily make a killing. So, forget about going to work. Even among the 100 or so employees, many were eyeing the parts. If it weren't for Uncle Zaba managing things, the Wild Wolf parts factory would probably be nearly empty. Chapter 178 Notification Letter, Part 2. Aren't you a designer? The vice director looked at Yang Hong with a strange expression. Huh? Yang Hong was puzzled. You just need to design some simple robots, and then find a computer designer to design a program specifically for you, and you can save manpower in the workshop, the vice director said. Yang Hong's eyes widened. Holy crap! You can do that? Yang Hong's eyes twitched. Oh dear, I've been so busy I forgot about that. Suyinru slapped her forehead. The Shianki parts factory that they had taken back had similar robots, but these workshop robots usually needed to be designed for specific environments, so they didn't need any of them. She had originally planned to have Yang Hong design some, but she had been so busy lately, and Yang Hong was also designing parts drawings. If the vice director hadn't mentioned it, she would have almost forgotten about it. Right, Yang Hong, remember to design some robots later, and then find a computer designer, and we can save a lot of manpower. Yang Hong glanced at her irritably. Why didn't you say so earlier? If you had, you wouldn't have been sleeping all day. But thinking about it, designing a few robots seemed pretty good, and Yang Hong suddenly became interested. Alright, you can discuss these things later. The vice dean stroked his beard. I came mainly to bring you your admission notice. Admission notice? Yang Hong chuckled. It's from District 32 Academy. That's right. The vice dean stroked his beard again. Starting tomorrow, you'll need to prepare to go to the central city of District 32 and wait for the academy to start classes. Why do I have to wait for classes to start? Aren't I a special admission student? Yang Hong blinked. Won't they come to pick me up? The vice dean's hand trembled as he stroked his beard, almost pulling it off. He glared at him. You kid, what's so special admission student? District 32 Academy has quite a few special admission students every year. If they had to pick them up one by one, how troublesome would that be? Besides, those who can become special admission students are basically people who aren't short of money. Why? Yang Hong asked curiously. Special admission students are people who have demonstrated certain abilities. They've already been reserved by large companies. How could they be short of money? Then why haven't I been reserved? Yang Hong wondered. The vice dean said irritably, you're already rich enough, a big boss. Why would any big company come looking for you? Fine, give it to me. Yang Hong held out his hand. The vice dean chuckled and shook his head, then sent a document through his electronic bracelet. Beep beep beep. Yang Hong's electronic bracelet beeped at the same time. Yang Hong raised his bracelet and pulled it out, almost spitting out his dinner. This was the admission notice? And it was from District 32 Academy? His eyes widened. Hearing that Yang Hong was going to District 32 Academy, Suyinru's face hardened. She was extremely unhappy. Because this departure might mean at least a year and a half without seeing him. Most importantly, Yang Hong had only designed over 10 parts during this time. If they encountered a ruthless competitor who suddenly released over 10 new parts, they would be in serious trouble. Glancing at Yang Hong, Suyinru decided that she would keep a close eye on him when they got back, making sure he designed more new parts. Oh. And the robots too. They also needed to reduce the manpower in the parts processing plant. Old man, is this really an admission notice? Yang Hong, unaware that he was being watched, turned around and asked. That's right, the vice dean nodded, then asked, what's wrong? What's wrong? Yang Hong almost burst out on the spot. Could they at least give him a normal admission notice? A black rectangular box with some text inside that looked like a leave request, plus a barcode. This was supposed to be an admission notice? One word, white. 2 words, rudimentary. A blank white interface, a simple sentence. Yang Hong has been specially admitted as a student of our school, and then, nothing more. Staring at this notice, Yang Hong's eyes twitched, almost blinding him. At least give him a big red booklet, he could show it off. After understanding the reason, the vice dean laughed and cried at the same time. You kid, countless people outside want this admission notice, and you're being picky. Don't you want it? He did want it, but this wasn't acceptable. Yang Hong glanced at it again and curled his lip. It was incredibly tacky, so tacky it was unbelievable. It wouldn't even be presentable enough to show off. Suyinru led the way, and the group arrived at the meeting room of the parts center. Since all the staff were busy, she only served them a simple cup of hot tea. However, this was enough for the vice dean, who had planned to drop off the notice and leave anyway. If he hadn't wanted to check on how Yang Hong's business was going, he wouldn't have even had time for a cup of tea. During this period, their Haiyang Academy had also been extremely busy. The release of the Wild Wolf parts, with its superior performance and excellent anti-disassembly technology, attracted the covetous eyes of numerous parts manufacturers, who inquired about the anti-disassembly technology courses. Following the Shianki Parts Factory incident, Principal Feng changed his strategy. He secretly revealed only the first 4 technologies, and the fees were increasingly exorbitant. The original price was 1 to 5 billion, with an additional 1 billion for extra courses. Things are different now. The first 3 courses have doubled in value, and the extra courses are worth a whopping 5 billion. Principal Feng has made a tough decision. As for the parts manufacturers, he says it's up to them whether they come or not. Did they see that Wild Wolf parts raked in over 10 billion on just one day after their release, and were even designated as standard equipment for Mecha by Mecha manufacturers? And the most important point is that Wild Wolf only released 3 parts. And the profits from those 3 parts are incredibly high. He doesn't believe no one will come to learn. Although Yang Hong's launch event had some shady dealings, it's obvious that without learning anti-disassembly technology, the technology will definitely fall behind and be outdated. These days, parts manufacturers that can't keep up with the times will definitely become dust in history, disappearing without a trace. The Vice-Dean rarely leaves for a while, so he takes this opportunity to rest and relax. Otherwise, he would be as busy as Principal Feng right now. The Vice-Dean, holding his teacup, took a sip, a relaxed expression on his face. Suddenly, he remembered something and couldn't help but offer a word of advice. By the way, when you go to District 32 Academy, remember to bring plenty of money, huh? Yang Hong was completely bewildered. It's just going to school, why do I need to bring extra money? Su Yinru, even more wary, clutched her electronic bracelet tightly, her gaze towards the Vice-Dean turning hostile. When you get to District 32 Academy, you'll understand why, the Vice-Dean said meaningfully. Chapter 179 The Battle for the Position. As for why, the Vice-Dean didn't say explicitly, only chuckling, leaving Yang Hong completely baffled. After drinking tea and resting for a while, the Vice-Dean simply shook his head and boarded his flying mech, departing. As soon as the Vice-Dean left, Yang Hong immediately stretched out his hand to Su Yinru. What's wrong? Su Yinru clutched her electronic bracelet tightly. Didn't you hear the Vice-Dean say that District 32 Academy needs to bring more money? Yang Hong said casually. Did I already give you 200 million? Su Yinru retorted. Not enough. The entire Wild Wolf enterprise has assets worth hundreds of billions. 200 million is like a drop in the ocean, not even worth a glance from Yang Hong. Not enough, Su Yinru exploded. That's 200 million. Do you know what 200 million means? Yang Hong didn't know, nor did he want to know. He only knew that with hundreds of billions, giving only 200 million was incredibly stingy. Besides, who was he? What was his status? The head of the Wild Wolf enterprise. The big boss. If you really want to go out, can you manage without money? Besides, the vice president has already said you need to bring more cash, 200 million. Even all the income from our previous parts center combined is only 200 million. And you still say it's not enough? Do you really think money is so easy to earn? Su Yinru roared. Yang Hong clicked his tongue. Money did seem so easy to earn. To be honest, since taking over the parts center, he hadn't known how to make money. First, there was Wild Wolf Drill number 1, then number 2, number 3, and then Wild Wolf Track number 1. He made a lot of money from these seemingly pointless ventures. And then there's Principal Feng's side. There's a 10% commission there, which is also a considerable income. A little here, a little there, he estimated at least tens of billions. With so much money, how could he not spend it? How could he face the employees in the workshop? How could he face the entire Wild Wolf enterprise? They worked so hard to earn money, just so Yang Hong could spend it freely. Yang Hong's eyes shone brightly as he looked at Su Yinru expectantly. Su Yinru's gaze immediately turned cold, subtly harboring hostility, and she even seemed to have the urge to strip Yang Hong of his electronic bracelet and steal all 200 million. A gasp escaped Yang Hong's lips, and cold sweat broke out on his back. Under that gaze, he immediately retreated. If even the 200 million in his electronic bracelet were stolen, he would have nowhere to turn for help. Seeing Yang Hong turn and leave, Su Yinru's expression softened, but she immediately ordered, Yang Hong, remember to design more component drawings. Oh, and the robots in the workshop too. Yang Hong grunted without saying a word and hurried away. No money, and he still had to design? No way. However, under Su Yinru's supervision, Yang Hong lingered in the studio for several more days. As for the component design drawings, he had no interest in designing them, but he did produce several robot configuration drawings, which were perfect for the workshop, freeing up a lot of manpower. As for the robot's optical brain control system, Suyinru couldn't find a girl with big eyes right away, so she had to spend money to hire another optical brain designer to design it. That day, in the Wild Wolf Parts Center office. "I want this person," Yang Hong shouted. "No. Absolutely not," Suyinru shook her head vigorously. "I don't care about the reason, I just want this person," Yang Hong roared. "Do you know what kind of background this person has? He's sent by the Wild Wolf Gang, and you actually dare to have him follow you?" Suyinru also got angry. Because of Yang Hong's trip to the 32nd District Academy, Suyinru decided to send someone to take care of his daily life. After much deliberation, she chose Liang Weihong. This person was quite clever, very loyal to the Wild Wolf Enterprise, and greatly admired Yang Hong. He was a reliable candidate. However, to her surprise, Yang Hong actually chose Hong Bao. Who was Hong Bao? He was a guy sent by the Wild Wolf Gang to monitor Yang Hong. If such a person went along, who could guarantee that he wouldn't be stabbed in the back if something went wrong? Wild Wolf Enterprises snatched the Wild Wolf name from the Wild Wolf Gang. If Yang Hong were stabbed in the back, his chances of survival would be slim. How could Suyinru possibly agree? Seeing their argument, Uncle Zaba shook his head. These two bosses were truly bizarre. They had no respect for hierarchy and it was unclear who the real boss was. While Yang Hong was supposed to be in charge, Suyinru controlled the finances of Wild Wolf Enterprises, making it difficult for him to allocate even a single penny. Suyinru, on the other hand, only held 40% of the shares, far from being the true owner. Watching the two young people bickering, Zaba felt himself growing old. However, at this point, only an old man like him could offer advice. Yang Hong Bao is a member of the Wild Wolf Gang. Having him around might be dangerous. I suggest you choose Liang Weihong, TCH, Yang Hong scoffed. Did they really think he was a fool, unaware that Hong Bao was a member of the Wild Wolf Gang? Choosing Hong Bao was just a pretext. Yang Hong actually wanted to use him to meet with the Wild Wolf Gang. Who were the Wild Wolf Gang members? They were all Yang Hong's benefactors. They'd give him money when he was broke, connections when he lacked influence, and even offered him a parts center when he was homeless. Yang Hong was curious to know how much more money he'd have if he personally visited the Wild Wolf Gang headquarters. The vice principal had said that this trip to District 32 Academy required a considerable amount of funds, and he only had 200 million on him. Compared to hundreds of billions, that was far too little, far too stingy. He didn't even know if he could present it to District 32 Academy. Hong Bao is very good at serving people. I like this guy, Yang Hong said, tilting his head back and humming. Indeed, Hong Bao was very good at serving people, a fact well known throughout the Wild Wolf Enterprises, and almost everyone despised him. But his status was a problem, otherwise, Suyinru would have been the first to raise her hand in agreement. Yang Hong was stubborn. Once he made up his mind, nothing could change it. So the two argued and bickered, from sunrise to almost nightfall, until even Uncle Zaba couldn't stand it anymore and turned to leave the office. Of course, he was there to prepare tea for them. Arguing was normal, but without some tea, their throats would easily become hoarse, which wasn't good for either of the small business owners. In the end, Suyinru had no choice but to compromise. However, she made a condition: bring Liang Weihong along too. With more people watching over him, she figured Hong Bao wouldn't do anything too outrageous. Liang Weihong, Yang Hong thought for a moment and agreed. One more person didn't matter, the most important thing was having Hong Bao by his side. Seeing that the two had finally compromised, Uncle Zaba breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 180 Reunion with Principal Fang. After confirming the candidates, Yang Hong immediately dispatched the two to Haiyang City. The central city of District 32 was quite far from the Mecha junkyard, and without a flying Mecha, it would be impossible to reach it quickly. Wild Wolf Enterprises currently only had one flying Mecha. Therefore, the two had to travel to Haiyang City to transfer to a flying Mecha. In the evening, Yang Hong boarded the flying Mecha, and Uncle Zaba drove him towards Haiyang Academy, the agreed-upon meeting point. With a whoosh, the flying Mecha stopped at the main gate of Haiyang Academy. "Alright, Uncle Zaba, you can go back now," Yang Hong said goodbye to Zaba after disembarking. "Okay. Oh, by the way, there's a small gift you might be interested in." Zaba nodded, then suddenly remembered something and sent some information to Yang Hong via his electronic bracelet. Beep beep beep. Yang Hong opened his electronic bracelet and saw a document. He looked at it for a while but couldn't figure out its purpose, so he asked in surprise, "What is this?" "A flying mech pilot certificate." Zaba shrugged. "Your skills are pretty good, kid. You can already pilot a flying mech on your own, so I applied for this little gift for you. How about it? Do you like it?" Yang Hong was overjoyed, his eyes shining with excitement. "I like it, of course I like it. So, with this, can I pilot a flying mech?" "That's right," Zaba nodded with a smile. "I reckon you'll need this when you get to the 32nd District Academy." "Thank you so much, Uncle Zaba." Yang Hong grinned from ear to ear. He had wanted to apply for a flying mech pilot certificate for a long time, but unfortunately, his body's background wasn't good enough to provide the corresponding qualification certificate. Even with Gu Fenggren's connections, he was still stuck at the Star Palace's review stage. Because a flying mech pilot certificate requires at least 5 years of ordinary mech piloting experience. Before Yang Hong possessed this body, there was no spare money to learn how to pilot a mecha, so the matter remained unresolved. Now, with Zaba's help, he suddenly obtained a flying mecha pilot's certificate, and Yang Hong was naturally overjoyed. "Alright, I should go back now." After saying goodbye again, Zaba piloted his flying mecha and roared into the sky. After glancing at his flying mecha certificate one last time, Yang Hong turned off his electronic bracelet, feeling a little smug. It seemed that entering the 32nd District Academy was a good choice after all. At this moment, Hong Bao and Liang Weihong appeared from somewhere and jogged over. "Boss," the two said in unison. However, Hong Bao clearly knew the art of flattery better. With a flick of his hands, as if by magic, he produced a bottle of drink from nowhere and handed it over with a bow and scrape. "Boss, have some water and rest first." Seeing this, Liang Weihong's eyes twitched. Because the two had been together the whole time, he hadn't known when Hong Bao had prepared the drink. "It seems that in the future, if I want to impress the boss, I'll need to be capable and prepared," Liang Weihong thought to himself. Yang Hong waved his hand. "You guys wait here for me. I'm going to borrow the flying mech from Principal Fang." Okay, Hong Bao nodded vigorously, watching Yang Hong's figure disappear into the academy's main gate. The two, without students' IDs, could only wait outside. "Haiyang Academy, Principal's office. You kid. You finally decided to come see me," Principal Fang glared, feigning anger. "I've been busy, haven't I?" Yang Hong said casually, plopping down on a sofa. "I heard from the vice dean that you're doing very well." Principal Fang had been in a great mood lately. The Wild Wolf parts were selling like hotcakes, and the anti-disassembly technology for the parts had also gained some fame, attracting many parts manufacturers from other cities in District 32. Of course, there were also quite a few parts manufacturers who, after hearing the explanation, directly chose the course and invested on the spot, which was the premise of Principal Fang's good mood. "Good my ass," Yang Hong said irritably. "What?" Principal Fang asked in surprise. Yang Hong shrugged. "No money." Principal Fang was taken aback, then glanced at Yang Hong sideways. "You're broke? Didn't you take over Shianki Parts Factory a while ago? I heard you guys are pretty ruthless." Thinking of this, Principal Fang couldn't help but chuckle. Ling Shianki had voluntarily offered 20% commission to buy parts, but due to insufficient funds, he had to pay with collateral. Unexpectedly, the Wild Wolf Enterprise used all these parts as collateral, and the cash value was less than a tenth of what it should be. In other words, Yang Hong and his group not only took all the cash from Ling Shianki without any investment, but also acquired a long-established parts factory for free. Of course, this was also because Shianki Parts Factory had offended a major mecha manufacturer. Principal Fang squinted, looking Yang Hong up and down. He had to admit, the more he looked at this guy, the more he saw a ruthless businessman, and a particularly cunning one at that. "But I didn't get a single penny," Yang Hong sighed, continuing to shrug. Principal Fang nodded, recalling Su Yinru's personality. After all, even he, an old money grubber, had fallen for her tricks more than once. But this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. With such a young girl who cared about the company, Wild Wolf Enterprises would likely soon be among the top in Haiyang City. After all, cash was a major issue when starting a company. Many old parts manufacturers had gone bankrupt because of cash shortages. "Old man, don't I get a 10% cut from you?" Yang Hong suddenly asked. "What do you want?" Principal Fang glared, simultaneously clutching his wristband. When it came to money, Principal Fang adopted almost the same principle as the young girl. Both of them were big money grubbers. How could they let money slip through their fingers? What else can I do? Of course, I'll take your money. Yang Hong held out his hand impatiently. No way, no way. Principal Fang shook his head vigorously. Getting money from a money grubber was practically robbery. If you don't give it to me, I'll be going to District 32 Academy empty-handed. If Haiyang Academy loses face, I can't help it. Yang Hong shrugged. What? Principal Fang's eye twitched. Could it be that the little girl really hadn't given Yang Hong a single penny? By the way, I was also planning to borrow a few flying mechas from you this time, Yang Hong added. A collective gasp rippled through Principal Fang, his eyes widening in disbelief. What was going on? The rental fee for flying mechas was only 100,000 per trip. Could that little girl be so stingy as to not even be willing to spend 100,000? You really don't have a single penny. Suddenly, Principal Fang remembered that Yang Hong, the big boss of Wild Wolf Enterprises, usually only carried 100,000 or 200,000 yuan. That amount wasn't even enough for basic living expenses, let alone living costs, at District 32 Academy. The central city where District 32 Academy was located was a major megacity, not comparable to a mech junkyard or a city like Haiyang City. Chapter 181 Receiving Money, Setting Off. Yang Hong did have the money, 200 million in fact. However, it's best not to admit you're rich in front of a money grubber. So, Yang Hong simply shrugged and spread his hands. Seeing Yang Hong's action, Principal Fang slapped his forehead, almost speechless. Alright, I give up on that little girl. Principal Fang really thought Su Yinru hadn't contributed a single penny. Okay, wait a minute. With that, Principal Fang turned on his computer and started clicking away. Yang Hong looked over curiously. Holy crap! Seeing the rows of numbers on the screen, Yang Hong's eyes widened instantly. Each row of numbers corresponded to the name of a parts manufacturer. Clearly, these were the recent lists of people who had enrolled in the Parts and Disassembly Technology course at Haiyang College. However, Yang Hong only glanced at it casually. The list already stretched beyond the screen. Soon, Principal Fang raised his head. Kid, I originally planned to settle accounts with you quarterly, but this time is an exception. I can settle last month's payment with you first. Okay, no problem. Yang Hong nodded. How much? How much? Principal Fang laughed heartily. Let me tell you, as long as you keep bringing in new technology, this money will only increase, not decrease. No problem. As long as you transfer the money to me first, I will definitely provide a new technology within 3 months at most. Yang Hong patted his chest to guarantee. You said it yourself. Principal Fang's eyes lit up, and he immediately perked up. The more technology Yang Hong provided, the higher their extra courses could be, which was a win-win situation. Last month, the 3 major local parts manufacturers all chose advanced courses, and they all chose extra courses at the same time. We received 6 billion from that, and then we added some large parts manufacturers in other cities, which totaled 12 billion. You take 10%, which is 1.2 billion. Do you plan to withdraw this money all at once, or withdraw a portion first and keep the rest for this quarter? Principal Fang asked. Oh my god. Yang Hong almost spat on Principal Fang's head. Damn, 12 billion yuan arrived in a month. Their Wild Wolf Enterprises couldn't earn that much even after painstakingly developing a single component. The last component launch was only possible thanks to the Royal Court of the Imperial Guard, which allowed them to successfully take over Shianki Components factory and seize Ling Shianki's assets, finally surpassing the 10 billion yuan mark. Yang Hong was furious. Why did they only ask for 10% commission initially? He should have insisted on 30%. Right now, he was even considering staying to let Deadbug continue researching new anti-disassembly technologies. But honestly, having more money didn't seem to benefit him much, because he hadn't maximized its potential. What's the point of earning money? To spend it, of course. A great man once said that only money that generates consumption is real money, otherwise, it's just a piece of waste paper, a pile of numbers. What's the point of hiding money like that little girl? Thinking of this, Yang Hong coughed lightly. Of course, I'll withdraw it all. What's the point of keeping it if I don't withdraw it all? There's no paper money in this timeline. How can you be happy staring at a string of empty numbers? Withdraw it all. Principal Fang's hand, which was stroking his beard, paused. His eye twitched as he stared at Yang Hong and asked, Kid, This is 1.2 billion, not a million or two. You need to withdraw it all, of course, Yang Hong said. Who am I? I'm the big boss of Wild Wolf Enterprise. If I go out without money, won't people look down on me? Besides, this time I'm a special admission student for District 32 Academy, and as a representative of Haiyang Academy. If I'm short of money and people look down on me, what face will Haiyang Academy have left? Principal Fang agreed, but 1.2 billion was no small sum. He still planned to go through the formalities and inform the little girl first. Inform the little girl? Yang Hong panicked. If he really informed her, the 1.2 billion would definitely not end up in his pocket. He held up 5 fingers, waving them around. Old man, within 3 months, I'll definitely come up with at least 5 new anti-disassembly technologies. Really? Principal Fang was a shrewd old fox. He knew exactly what Yang Hong was thinking. After much consideration, Principal Fang finally agreed. Alright, anyway, you're the big boss of Wild Wolf Enterprises, so it's the same to you. However, I have to inform that little girl about this, otherwise she'll definitely break this old man's bones. He still had to inform the little girl? Yang Hong's eyes twitched. Wouldn't it mean he had no chance of getting the money? Of course, I'll inform you after you leave the academy. Principal Fang smiled and stroked his beard. Yang Hong was finally relieved. He quickly extended his electronic bracelet. Okay, transfer the money, no rush, we still need to go through the proper procedures. Principal Fang led Yang Hong to the finance office. Then there were all sorts of signatures, fingerprints, and iris scans before finally transferring 1.2 billion to Yang Hong's electronic bracelet. Kid, although the cost of living in the central city is high, don't spend all this money, or you'll have trouble explaining it to others, Principal Fang repeatedly warned. Okay, no problem. Yang Hong was overjoyed to see an extra digit in the number on his electronic bracelet. Besides, the vice dean had repeatedly told him to bring more money, and he had brought a little extra. With the money issue resolved, Yang Hong then asked to borrow a flying mech. No way, Principal Fang shook his head. You're a rich man now, and a big boss. Why do you need to borrow? Our academy isn't having an easy time either. We still have to go through the proper procedures. The market price for renting a flying mech is 100,000, but I can give you a discount, 70,000. Principal Fang revealed a sly smile, blinking his eyes. Damn it. This old money grubber. Yang Hong cursed inwardly. The academy isn't having an easy time? Not easy, my foot. They received 12 billion in the blink of an eye in a month. How many companies outside can do that? And Yang Hong is a student of the academy, and was specially recruited to the 32nd District Academy on behalf of the academy, and they still want to charge him? Money is for spending, but not for being squandered like a fish on a chopping block. I'm a student, Yang Hong said. Students also have to pay, half price, Principal Fang said, waving 5 fingers. 10,000, 50,000, 10,000, fine, I'll give you a discount, 40,000, 10,000, minimum 30,000, or you can rent outside. Principal Fang was getting angry. Okay, Yang Hong compromised. After paying 90,000 star coins, Principal Fang issued an electronic certificate. As Yang Hong left, he smiled and reminded him, remember, at least 5 anti-disassembly technologies within 3 months. Alright, Yang Hong waved his hand impatiently. Actually, even if Principal Fang hadn't reminded him, Yang Hong would have forced Deadbug to develop new anti-disassembly technologies. After all, it was a quick way to make money. In just 1 month, he had already received 1.2 billion. One could imagine that with more technical support, the amount would be even greater. It's foolish not to make money when it's available. With Hong Bao and Liang Weihong by his side, Yang Hong embarked on a journey to the 32nd District Academy. Chapter 182 First Arrival in the Central City. Snoring Yang Hong was fast asleep, a thin line of sweat trickling from the corner of his mouth. The Mecha pilot couldn't help but chuckle at his appearance, but since they had arrived at their destination, he had no choice but to forcefully wake him. Are we there? Yang Hong asked, rubbing his sleepy eyes. Yes, we're here. This is Central City, the Mecha pilot replied. Stepping out of the cockpit, Yang Hong stretched lazily. Boss Yang, this is Terminal 1. District 32 Academy is very famous. You can find it by using the navigation on your electronic bracelet, or just ask anyone you know, the Mecha pilot reminded him. Oh, Yang Hong nodded, still snoring. Boss Yang, now that I've brought you to your destination, I'll head back. Go on, Yang Hong waved. At this moment, Hong Bao and Liang Weihong, who had already disembarked from their mechas, also ran over. Hong Bao was the fastest. Before he even arrived, he produced a strange box with a flick of his wrist, then pulled out a bottle of water from it. Boss, have some water first, Hong Bao said with a fawning smile, offering the bottle. Taking the water bottle, Yang Hong let out a soft hum, then glanced at the strange box. The water he took from the box was icy cold to the touch, and condensation formed on his skin, clearly indicating that the strange box was something like a mini fridge. Hong Bao, where did you get this? Yang Hong asked curiously. As long as it satisfies the boss, Hong Bao, will prepare everything in advance. Everything is for the boss's benefit, Hong Bao assured him, patting his chest. Suddenly, Yang Hong realized that Hong Bao seemed rather interesting and couldn't help but chuckle. Liang Weihong, a beat slower, felt his heart sink. His hand, which had just reached into his bag, snapped back. His eyes twitched. When did Hong Bao prepare this mini fridge? Hearing Hong Bao's words, tears welled up in his eyes. Prepared in advance, everything is for the boss's benefit? What was he supposed to do now? Flattery should be his job. However, it was clear that the difference in their attempts at flattery was significant. After enjoying a refreshing sip of ice water, Yang Hong also surveyed the number 1 landing area. The central city of District 32 was a megacity built by concentrating most of the resources of the entire District 32. The area of just the landing area was almost the same size as Haiyang Academy, making Yang Hong's eyes twitch. At this time, it was the start of the school year in District 32, and there were many people at the landing area with the same purpose as Yang Hong, each accompanied by 1 or 2 people. However, Yang Hong didn't bother to greet these people, as their purposes were different. These people were genuinely there to study, while Yang Hong was only heading to the library. To put it bluntly, he was there to loaf around. Handing the water back to Hong Bao, Yang Hong waved his hand. Let's go take a look around. But just as he was about to leave, another whooshing sound came from the sky, and a flying mech descended. Huh? Yang Hong looked over and couldn't help but let out a soft exclamation. The person who stepped out of the flying mech was a familiar face, and also Yang Hong's future employee, Feng Wen, the girl with the large round glasses. At this moment, Feng Wen still looked like a pure and innocent girl, still wearing her large round glasses, making her instantly recognizable. The girl with the large round glasses hadn't appeared since she left the Wild Wolf Parts Center last time, and no one knew where she had gone. Yang Hong had also met her twin sister before, but hadn't been able to get any information from her. Seeing her now, Yang Hong immediately waved. Large round glasses, come here quickly. Feng Wen had just stepped off the flying mech and didn't even notice Yang Hong's call. Boss, I'll get her back for you. Hong Bao immediately stepped forward, giving a knowing look as he spoke. Yang Hong chuckled and flicked him on the forehead. What do you mean get her back? She's one of ours. One of ours? Hong Bao was dumbfounded. Boss, I'll go. We've met before. Liang Weihong immediately seized this golden opportunity. Yang Hong waved his hand as Hong Bao gasped, inwardly seething. It seemed their Wild Wolf Gang's intelligence gathering was incomplete. They didn't even know they had an extra employee. No, this had to be reported to the higher-ups so they could gather more intelligence, otherwise his mission wouldn't be able to continue. With Liang Weihong's appearance, Feng Wen finally noticed Yang Hong and followed him over. Why are you here today too? Although she had signed a contract, Feng Wen couldn't bring herself to call him boss. What do you mean you? I'm the boss, don't you understand? Yang Hong grumbled. Feng Wen's face immediately darkened. Call him boss quickly, Hong Bao echoed from the side. Feng Wen's face darkened again. She quickly adjusted her large-rimmed glasses and glanced sideways at Hong Bao. Who's this big red-nosed guy? Before Yang Hong could speak, Liang Weihong hurriedly said, he's one of our newly recruited employees, the kind who specializes in flattering the boss, and he's not very popular. Hong Bao's eyes twitched. What did he mean by specializes in flattering the boss? And what does unpopular even mean? At least he's popular with Yang Hong now, and also with the young boss, Su Yinru. Hong Bao snorted to himself. Hong Bao looked as sleazy as could be. Feng Wen sized him up and down, then adjusted her large-rimmed glasses. You really are an unpopular guy. I'm a very popular person, and I'm also very good at serving people, Hong Bao thought, his eyes welling up with tears, almost ready to cry. By the way, why did you choose to come today? Fang Wen returned to the original topic. "Call me, boss," Yang Hong mouthed. "Okay." Under Yang Hong's gaze, Fang Wen gave in, adjusting her large rimmed glasses. "Boss, yes, that's more like it." Yang Hong laughed and shrugged, saying, "I came whenever I wanted, it's not like I deliberately picked a day." Fang Wen's large rimmed glasses almost fell off. "You're a boss, can't you be serious?" she said irritably. "There's still some time before school starts, so where are you planning to go now?" "Of course, to get familiar with the surroundings," Yang Hong replied casually, waving his hand. "Come on, let's go have a big meal first." He'd been stuck in the parts center for a while, eating noodles every day, and was thoroughly tired of it. Su Yinru, however, had never offered to improve their meals, which had left him seething with resentment. Now that they were finally in the central city of District 32, and with a considerable amount of money on his electronic bracelet, he was determined to feast and treat his stomach. Hong Bao and Liang Weihong's eyes were also shining. Their situation was similar to Yang Hong's. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Shrimp BB Luxury Restaurant. With a target set, Yang Hong waved his hand and said, "Lead the way." "Lead the way?" This time, Hong Bao consciously backed down. Although he had already switched to an electronic bracelet with navigation, he came from a junkyard and was an uneducated hoodlum. He couldn't handle this kind of high-class stuff, so he had to give the opportunity to Liang Weihong. Liang Weihong's face turned green, and he clutched his electronic bracelet. Last time he used navigation, he had already broken one of the electronic bracelets. Using navigation again now would definitely get him a beating. Seeing the two hesitant to move forward, Yang Hong's face darkened. "What's wrong with you two? Hurry up and lead the way, boss." Hong Bao swallowed hard. "I don't know how to use navigation." "I don't know how to use navigation either," Liang Weihong whispered. "What?" Yang Hong was furious and almost kicked them both away. He had invited them here for convenience, but now they couldn't even lead the way. What convenience was that? "Fine, I'll lead the way," Fang Wen said, pretending to adjust her large-rimmed glasses again. "Stop adjusting your glasses, lead the way, hurry up and lead the way." Yang Hong's stomach was growling with hunger, and in the time it took Fang Wen to adjust her glasses, he could have devoured a whole lobster and several bowls of rice. While Fang Wen was leading the way, she said, "Just so you know, 1,000 star coins." "What the hell?" Yang Hong's eyes twitched. What did this mean? He was the boss, and a big boss at that. His employee dared to take money from him? "Let me tell you, if you do another 1,000 next time, I'll definitely deduct your salary," Yang Hong said fiercely. "Deduct money?" Fang Wen adjusted her large-rimmed glasses. "But you haven't paid me yet, what are you deducting?" That seemed to make sense. Yang Hong was embarrassed, but he reacted quickly. "Didn't you sign a 10-year contract? When you officially get paid, you'll deduct the money directly. Aren't you afraid I'll just sit there doing nothing?" Fang Wen asked. Yang Hong picked his nose and snorted. What was he afraid of? Sitting there doing nothing? He'd definitely be locked up in a dark room, and they'd never speak to each other again, completely wasting his talent. Let's see who's afraid of whom. However, he didn't say this aloud. After all, Fang Wen was still a promising talent, at least more so than the accessory designer. Soon, Fang Wen found a high-end restaurant with a seemingly appealing name, Shrimp BB Luxury Restaurant. The name sounded good, Yang Hong nodded, but that was only the second half. As for what Shrimp BB meant, he shrugged, indicating he had no idea. With Fang Wen leading the way, the group quickly arrived at Shrimp BB Luxury Restaurant. It was an extremely luxurious restaurant, with a sign holding a giant lobster, suggesting it was a place to eat lobster. Okay, this is it, Yang Hong perked up. He really wanted lobster whenever he wanted. He was tired of noodles. This time, he decided he had to have a super luxurious lobster. As soon as they entered the restaurant, a waitress came over. Seeing that only Fang Wen was dressed appropriately, while the other three looked like they came from a rural area, the waitress's face fell. However, as an employee of a high-class establishment, she remained relatively composed. Undoubtedly, her gaze fell on Fang Wen. "Miss, we've run out of 4-person tables. Would you like to wait?" The refusal was clear. This was a high-end, luxurious restaurant. Fang Wen was one thing, but they couldn't tolerate Yang Hong and his group entering. It would affect their business. Fang Wen first adjusted her large rimmed glasses, then pointed at Yang Hong. He's the boss. He's in charge of everything, boss? The waitress was taken aback, her gaze finally settling on Yang Hong. After looking him up and down, she frowned. Boss, would you like to wait? No, no. Yang Hong waved his hand. Then, the waitress sighed softly. Don't you have any private rooms? Yang Hong retorted. He was starving. The main dining area? When would the food arrive? He'd rather go straight to a private room. Anyone knew that food served much faster in private rooms. Oh. The waitress blinked, but she immediately realized that this Yang Hong was definitely a nouveau riche from the countryside. Her attitude towards wealthy people was naturally different. She smiled broadly. Yes, there's one private room left. Would you like to book it right away? The price of a private room was different from the main hall room. The waitress responsible for guiding people would receive a commission from the room fee. No problem, book it right away. Yang Hong nodded. If he didn't eat soon, he would definitely get hungry and throw a tantrum. Young Master Ling, this way please. Suddenly, a group of people entered. These people were all well dressed, clearly wealthy, and the one at the front exuded an invisible aura, the unique charisma of a high-class rich young master. To be a special admission student at District 32 Academy, young Master Ling is truly a remarkable person. Of course, young Master Ling is the only son of the Ling family parts factory. He grew up handling parts, so naturally he has different insights into parts design than we do. Being in the same class as young Master Ling is definitely our blessing. That's right. Young Master Ling, please don't forget to give us some pointers so our parts design skills can improve. Young Master Ling, at the front, laughed heartily. Although I've heard the courses at District 32 Academy are very demanding, I can still find some time to guide you. Don't worry, young Master Ling is so honest. If I ever have the chance to work under him, I'll have to pray for it. Exactly, young Master Ling is such a good person. Young Master Ling patted his chest. Don't worry, as long as you graduate smoothly from District 32 Academy, our Ling family parts factory will definitely recruit you as employees immediately so you can fully utilize your talents. Hey, do you have any private rooms left? One of the people following young Master Ling asked a waitress. The only son of the Ling family's auto parts factory? The waitress's eyes lit up. Although the Ling family's auto parts factory wasn't in the central city, it was located very close, and their auto parts were quite famous, very popular among students of District 32 Academy. Their parts were perfect for modifications, making them especially popular with design and repair students. As a high-end restaurant employee who frequently served students from District 32 Academy, the waitress naturally knew about this auto parts factory. Yes, the waitress bowed and scraped as she approached, her attitude as respectful as could be, practically treating the group as a cash cow. We happen to have one last private room. Would you like to reserve it? Mr. Ling, of course. Before Mr. Ling could speak, the person beside him immediately waved his hand. We've reserved it. Please serve the food within 10 minutes. We won't order anything else, just bring out the most expensive dishes, 20 dishes in total. Upon hearing this, the waitress immediately became excited and quickly led the way. Chapter 184 Screw your VIP guest. Hey, how many private rooms did you say you had left? Yang Hong asked anxiously as the waitress left his group behind and led others into a private room. There's one more, the waitress replied. What? One? Yang Hong asked. What about her private room? Just wait a little longer, it'll be ready soon. The waitress didn't even turn around and began to flatter young Master Ling and his group. Young Master Ling, our shrimp BB luxury restaurant is most famous for its giant lobsters. These lobsters are all transported from the coastal city, and they're delivered by air mechas. They're still alive and kicking, although the price is a bit high. The taste is absolutely fresh and sweet. Many wealthy people come specifically for these giant lobsters. I think young Master Ling must be wealthy too. Are you here for the giant lobsters as well? How about everyone orders one? Okay, then everyone orders one. Young Master Ling loved hearing these kinds of things. He laughed heartily and made the decision on the spot. Damn. So they'd given their private room to those people. Yang Hong was furious. He strode forward and blocked their way. Stop right there, what are you doing? The waitress's face darkened. Who are you? One of Ling Guangzi's entourage stepped forward and demanded. Yang Hong pointed at the waitress and asked, I already booked the private room. How could you give it to them so easily? They're VIPs, so naturally we should arrange it first, the waitress replied calmly. Lobster was a specialty of Shrimp BB restaurant, and it was quite expensive. If each of Ling Guangzi's group ordered one, she could definitely get a substantial cut. Under these circumstances, how could she possibly give the private room to Yang Huang? VIPs? Ling Guangzi was also taken aback. It seemed like this was his first time at this restaurant, and he was being treated like a VIP. However, after sizing up Yang Hong, he had a pretty good idea of what was going on, and his gaze turned contemptuous. At this moment, Yang Hong was still dressed in clothes worth less than 100 star coins. Not to mention him, even Liang Weihong was not much different. Only Hong Bao, backed by the Wild Wolf Gang, dressed somewhat decently, but even then, his clothes were only worth a few hundred star coins. They were clearly a group of country bumpkins, and the most unsophisticated kind at that, like they had been picked out of garbage. On the other hand, any one of them could easily be picked out, and their outfits would cost more than 10,000 star coins. Moreover, he was generous, ordering a large lobster for each person, naturally making him a VIP. As a VIP, young Master Ling stood up straight, slightly tilted his head back, and raised his chin, deliberately keeping a distance from Yang Hong to avoid being laughed at for his rustic appearance. VIP? What VIP? Before Yang Hong could speak, Hong Bao immediately jumped out. Does that mean they're VIPs just because they can afford to pay a little more? Exactly, you promised us a private room first, why did you give it to them first? Liang Weihong was not to be outdone, and also ran to Yang Hong's side. Sell it for a little more? What do you mean? Young Master Ling and his group's faces darkened. What do you want? Seeing that Yang Hong had more people, the waitress's expression turned unpleasant. The first person to jump out was even more furious, pointing at Yang Hong and his group. Watch your mouths. What do you mean by sell it for a little more? We're not gigolos, a bunch of country bumpkins. How dare you talk to us like that? Another person jumped out. Seeing that someone was backing them up, the waitress straightened her back. This is Central City, and our Shrimp BB luxury restaurant is a well-known high-end restaurant in Central City. Let me tell you, don't cause trouble here, you can't afford the consequences. Who wanted to cause trouble? Yang Hong snorted, we won't cause trouble, just give us back our private room. He was starving and looking forward to a big meal. How could he possibly give away the private room he had already secured, especially since they were the first to book it? As for being looked down upon as country bumpkins, he could ignore that for now. Filling his stomach was the priority. Did you hear me? We're honored guests, honored guests. The first person to jump out drew out the word, his gaze contemptuous. Can't even afford a set of clothes? Don't go around eating and then wiping your mouth. Unable to pay the bill, another person sneered. Hearing about dine and dash, the waitress's face turned ugly. What the restaurant feared most was not paying after eating. Then, not only would they lose their share, but even their bonuses would be deducted. Because the commotion was a bit loud, it attracted a lot of attention. The waitress's face grew even uglier. Because besides fearing dine and dash, the restaurant also had to prevent anyone from causing trouble, because once a disturbance occurred, it would definitely affect the diner's mood, and might even cause those who originally intended to come in to leave. If such a thing happened, she would definitely have to take full responsibility. Then, not only would she lose her bonus, but she might even lose her job. The waitress's face began to turn ashen. The repeated use of country bumpkin had completely angered Yang Hong, and his empty stomach only added fuel to the fire. Did he think he was a pushover? What the hell? You call yourself a noble guest? A bumpkin? Yang Hong didn't speak. He strode forward and kicked out with his right foot. Bang! The first person to step forward was sent flying. Yang Hong's strength was immense. Not only did he send the man flying, but the young Master Ling and his entourage were also knocked off their feet and scattered on the ground. Seeing her worst fears realized, the waitress's face turned deathly pale. Pointing at Yang Hong, her voice trembled. You, take us to a private room. I'm waiting for a feast. Yang Hong snorted, picking his nose. Take us to a private room? The waitress's eyes widened. These bumpkins, didn't they know they'd committed a crime? This was Central City, the Xiaobibi high-class restaurant. They'd assaulted someone and still wanted to take them to a private room? They were absolutely asking for trouble. Just then, a woman with a manager's badge on her chest appeared and walked over. She frowned and asked, what happened? She then beckoned for someone to help Mr. Ling and his companions up. Mr. Ling pushed away the person who came to help him, struggled to his feet, and glared at Yang Hong. "You actually hit me, did I hit you?" Yang Hong said dismissively, picking his nose. "That's right, our boss didn't even touch you," Hong Bao quickly chimed in. Liang Weihong also shouted, "That's right, our boss only lightly kicked the guy. It's your fault for not catching him properly. That's why you're lying on the ground, you're asking for it." Mr. Ling was furious. He reached out and activated his electronic bracelet, intending to call for help. "Sir, this happened at our Xiaobibi restaurant. Please let Xiaobibi restaurant handle it," the manager's voice came over. If Mr. Ling really called for help, Xiaobibi restaurant would have no business left. "Resolve it? How are you going to resolve it? I was beaten up, and by some bumpkin at that." Young Master Ling's eyes blazed with fury as he stared at Yang Hong. "Please trust Shrimp Bibi restaurant. We will never take sides with whoever strikes first." As the lobby manager spoke, he subtly gestured, summoning a team of security guards dressed in doorman uniforms. Chapter 185 The Sphere. The security guards, also a bunch of snobs, only glanced at young Master Ling and Yang Hong upon their arrival before slowly surrounding Yang Hong and his group. There was no way around it, Yang Hong and his companions were dressed too shabbily. "What do you mean?" Feng Wen, adjusting her large-rimmed glasses, asked as she approached Yang Hong and his group. The lobby manager remained silent. The security guards were equally silent. "Manager, it was him, this guy started it." At this moment, the waitress finally came to her senses. "He really started it," the lobby manager squinted. "That's right, he started it." Those following young Master Ling spoke in unison, pointing at Yang Hong. The lobby manager turned to look at Yang Hong. "Sir, I'd like to hear your explanation." The security guards tightened their encirclement. "An explanation?" Yang Hong picked his nose. "What else needs explaining?" Hong Bao jumped out, his big red nose twitching. "That's right, what explanation does our boss need? They clearly stole our private room." "Exactly. We booked it first, why should we give it to them first?" Liang Weihong, always a beat behind, looked displeased but jumped out and shouted as quickly as possible. "The private room, it seems, was booked by us first." Fang Wen adjusted her large-rimmed glasses again, her signature move. The lobby manager narrowed her eyes. Seeing the waitress lower her head and observing the difference in clothing between young Master Ling and Yang Hong, she understood. However, it was obvious that she was biased towards young Master Ling's group. Shrimp Bibi restaurant was a luxurious, high-end restaurant, not a charity. Although Yang Hong was called the boss, a boss dressed like that could only afford to dine there once or twice, and might not even be able to afford a large lobster. On the other hand, young Master Ling's group would definitely have a steady stream of customers. She rolled her eyes and looked at Yang Hong, saying, "We can forget about the private room issue, no explanation needed. But you caused trouble at our Xiaobibi restaurant, you should at least give an explanation." Hearing this, young Master Ling's expression softened slightly. He straightened his clothes and gave a heavy, cold snort. What did she mean? What did she mean by no explanation needed? Was it obvious they should give up the private room? Yang Hong's eyes widened. And what did she mean by causing trouble? And what explanation was she supposed to give? This was really going too far. An explanation? What the hell do I have to explain? Yang Hong roared, and as the saying goes, a fight starts at the drop of a hat. He rolled up his sleeves and showed his two fists. Seeing Yang Hong's muscular arms, the security guards couldn't help but burst into laughter. Those were two arms that hadn't been exercised, like underdeveloped muscular arms. Haha. Young Master Ling and the others let out even more cold sneers. The lobby manager also showed a contemptuous smile. She waved her hand, and immediately several tall, burly, muscular security guards ripped off their shirts, revealing massive muscles. Their arms bulged out, forming bulges the size of baby heads, a show of defiance towards Yang Hong. Yang Hong wasn't afraid of a fight. He strode over to one of the shirtless guards. A mocking smile played on the guard's lips. Get lost. Yang Hong stretched out his right hand and slapped the guard hard, sending him flying. The man slammed into the wall with a loud thud, leaving a human-shaped dent. The security guards were dumbfounded, staring at the dent. The lobby manager's smile froze. The waitress nearly collapsed in fear. Young Master Ling's eyes widened, and his entourage stood frozen, unable to move. Hong Bao had already witnessed Yang Hong's strength and wasn't surprised at all. Instead, he hummed to himself, "See? That's our boss's power. Yes, that's right. If you don't give us an explanation, don't blame us for tearing your nonsense apart, Liang Weihong chimed in. Feng Wen, as usual, adjusted her large rimmed glasses. The lobby manager reacted, her face darkening. She waved her hands repeatedly, "Take him down." A group of security guards rushed forward. But what could they do? Yang Hong slapped them with both hands, one after another, sending the security guards sprawling on the ground. Ouch, ouch, several cried out in pain. Who are you? The lobby manager's face darkened. The fight, and the loud thud, caused many of the diners to hurriedly pay their bills and leave. Some who had just entered the restaurant were so frightened by the scene that they turned and left. The lobby manager's face was as black as coal dust, as if she had been splashed with it. Yang Hong ignored her, waving his hand. "Let's go, let's eat at another place." This damn idiot not only didn't give him a private room, but was also planning to rip him off. Although he was starving, he had no appetite left. "Don't leave," the lobby manager cried out, her face flushed. Everything here was recorded. Although the food wasn't damaged, if they couldn't stop Yang Hong, all the losses would fall on her. Each scared away customer would cost at least 10,000 star coins, a huge fine. HMPH, Yang Hong snorted, ignoring her, and led Hong Bao, Feng Wen, and the others out. What could a lobby manager do? She couldn't fight him, and she couldn't stop him. She could only watch helplessly, her face red. Young Master Ling and his group immediately made way for him. Yang Hong's fighting prowess had left a shadow in their minds. Bang! As he walked, Yang Hong bumped headfirst into something soft. Looking closer, he saw it was a huge lump of belly flesh. Yang Hong was already angry and about to curse, but when he looked up, he couldn't help but laugh. The owner of the huge belly was a short, fat man with a receding hairline, a round head, a round face, and a round body. He looked like a ball. And this short, fat man had a grin on his face. The physique was good, and the smile was good too, but Yang Hong wasn't in a good mood at the moment. He waved his hand. "Let's go, let's go. Don't come to this lousy restaurant. You seem like a nice guy. Come with me, I'll take you to a better restaurant." Oh, the short, fat, round man smiled, his smile very polite. "Young man, why not eat at this lousy restaurant?" Before Yang Hong could speak, Hong Bao was the first to jump out. "Eat, eat, eat. You're almost getting angry from all this eating. Our boss likes you, so come with us." As he spoke, Hong Bao's big red nose twitched. As the saying goes, a big red nose brings joy, and the short, fat, round man's smile widened. "That's right." Liang Weihong also stepped forward. "Our boss is a nice guy. You'll definitely have a great time eating with us." Oh, the short, chubby, round man smiled again. "Then I, Yuan Chu, must thank the young boss first. But I still want to know why you're not eating at Shrimp BB restaurant, round?" Yang Hong was stunned, blinking his eyes. This short, chubby, round man was called round? Little did he know, the lobby manager and the waitress trembled when they saw this round man, because this man was none other than the owner of Shrimp BB, Yuan Chu. Chapter 186 is damn long. Why not eat? A glance at the lobby manager and the waitress made Yang Hong lose his appetite. Another look at young Master Ling and his group made him want to vomit, let alone lose his appetite. Yang Hong snorted and said nothing more. Yang Hong remained silent, as did Hong Bao and Liang Weihong. Feng Wen continued her signature move of adjusting her glasses. The short, fat Yuan Chu, though still smiling, had turned to look at the lobby manager. "Boss, boss," the lobby manager swallowed hard. "Boss? The boss of Shrimp BB restaurant?" Yang Hong blinked, his gaze towards the fat man somewhat surprised. Hong Bao and Liang Weihong also widened their eyes. This time, Feng Wen didn't adjust her glasses, her gaze fell on the short, fat man. Young Master Ling frowned. "What exactly happened?" the fat man asked sternly, his face hardening. He had just returned and was unaware of the situation. The lobby manager wasn't stupid, she was shrewd. She quickly nudged the waitress, saying, "I heard a commotion over here, came over to check, and it seemed this waitress was being bullied, so I called security. I didn't expect him to beat them all up." She pointed at Yang Hong. Yang Hong picked his nose, remaining silent. The fat man, his face ashen, stared at the waitress. "Speak." The waitress's legs trembled uncontrollably. They hit her first. At this moment, young Master Ling stepped forward, pointing at Yang Hong. Seeing someone backing her up, the waitress's condition improved, and she immediately pointed at Yang Hong as well. I was just about to take the guests to the private room when he attacked them. 1, 2, even the guests were blaming Yang Hong. As the saying goes, 3 men can make a tiger. The fat man frowned, his gaze towards Yang Hong turning hostile. Young man, shouldn't you give me an explanation too? HMPH, Yang Hong snorted coldly. Seeing this, Hong Bao quickly stepped forward. I can tell you about this on behalf of my boss. He then explained the situation. Is that what happened? The fat man asked, looking at the waitress again. The waitress had calmed down by now. Her eyes darted around, and she quickly said, Boss, young Master Ling and his group have booked a large lobster each. They're very generous and have the potential to become regulars, so we've given them the private room. As she spoke, she gave Yang Hong and his group a disdainful nod. One of the men who had accompanied young Master Ling also chimed in, our young Master Ling works at Ling's Parts Center. If you provide excellent service and have good taste, he'll naturally become a regular. But now, HMPH, the fat man remained unmoved. With his businessman's eye, he could naturally see the difference between Yang Hong and young Master Ling's group. Of course, he also discerned them by their clothing. A large lobster per person, that was a considerable sum, and if they became regulars, they would be long-term customers for the restaurant. They were a promising investment. Conversely, Yang Hong and his group, except for Feng Wen, were all dressed in clothes costing several hundred star coins. Let alone each person eating a large lobster, even just one would be a struggle to pay the bill, let alone become regulars at the restaurant. Even if it were him, he would have prioritized arranging a private room for young Master Ling and his group. However, the current commotion had already attracted a crowd. And a single wrong word could severely impact the restaurant's business in the short term, something Boss Yuan Chu certainly didn't want. More importantly, the country bumpkin boss possessed immense strength. Look at the security guards lying on the ground. These were men he had personally recruited, quite capable individuals. Under these circumstances, Boss Yuan Chu could only feign anger and berate a waitress. How are you doing your job? This young master is a customer. Could you have arranged a table in the main dining area first? We wanted a private room, not the main dining area, Hong Bao corrected, twitching his large red nose. His Boss Yuan Chu's eyes twitched. Damn it, I haven't even had a chance to get back at you, and you're already pushing your luck. But at this moment, many guests were watching them. He forcibly suppressed his dissatisfaction and continued to berate a waitress. Since this young master booked the private room first, as long as they can afford it, you should give them priority. Hearing this, young Master Ling's face instantly darkened. The first person to jump out immediately shouted, Boss, that's not right. Even if they booked the private room first, they didn't put down a deposit. As he spoke, he disdainfully looked Yang Hong and the others up and down. Besides, can they really get into the private room? Exactly, a large lobster costs at least 10,000 star coins. Can they afford that? The waitress muttered softly, but her voice, though low, still reached everyone's ears. Hong Bao was disgruntled, his big red nose twitching. Only 10,000 star coins? Let alone one, even 10 or 100 lobsters wouldn't be a problem for our boss. Liang Weihuang, always a beat behind, fumed. He gestured around the restaurant. What 10 or 100 lobsters? Let me tell you, our boss could buy your entire restaurant with ease. This wasn't a lie. At the recent press conference, Wild Wolf Enterprises had made at least tens of billions. He refused to believe they couldn't buy a mere restaurant. What? 10 or 100 lobsters wouldn't be a problem? And buying the whole restaurant would be a piece of cake? Boss Yuan Chu's eyes twitched. Young Master Ling laughed mockingly, and his men burst into laughter, almost laughing themselves silly. A group of people whose clothes combined didn't even amount to 10,000 star coins, saying buying a high-end restaurant was a piece of cake? Who would believe that? It would be more believable if young Master Ling said that. Boss Yuan Chu shook his head slightly. Boss, you can't say that. This is a high-end restaurant, not some ordinary storefront. The renovations alone cost a fortune. His implication was that Yang Hong and the others should watch their words and not lose face. However, hearing Liang Weihuang's words, Yang Hong had the idea of buying the blindly talking restaurant. Tell me, how much do you want? Damn, he was starving. If he didn't fill his stomach soon, he'd definitely faint. Buying the restaurant was definitely the best idea. He then extended his electronic bracelet. I recently received 200 million in pocket money. I figured it wasn't enough, so I went and collected some more. That should be enough to buy your place. 200 million in pocket money? Young Master Ling and his group laughed until tears almost welled up in their eyes. Not only them, even the lobby manager and the waitresses curled their lip. What kind of people were they? Their boasting was practically out of control. Boss Yuan Chu couldn't stand that any longer and said, "Young boss, our shrimp BB restaurant is a high-end restaurant. I myself have invested 100 million yuan, it's truly a..." Before he could finish, his gaze suddenly fixed on Yang Hong. Yang Hong's electronic bracelet had already activated, displaying a long string of numbers on his bank account. It was incredibly long. Chapter 187 Another dinner invitation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A genuine 10-digit number. Boss Yuan Qi was dumbfounded. The waitress, who was closest, also noticed the 10-digit account, and her face turned deathly pale. Young Master Ling was equally sharp-eyed, his face instantly turned bright red, and his eyes almost popped out. A genuine 10-digit number. That was a genuine billion star coins. And judging from the first 2 digits, it was definitely more than a billion. Could the 200 million star coins this guy mentioned be pocket money? Everyone was dazzled by that string of numbers. Just like young Master Ling, although he worked at Ling's parts factory, his monthly pocket money was only a few 100,000. This time, it was only because he received a special admission to the 32nd District Academy that his family prepared 10 million so he could splurge and treat each of his followers to a large lobster. Compared to the more than 1 billion in Yang Hong's electronic bracelet, he was practically kneeling in disbelief. Boss Yuan Chu wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. He had just boasted about spending 100 million, but it seemed to others it wasn't even pocket money. Just who was this kid? And most importantly, with so much money, he dressed like a country bumpkin who crawled out of a garbage dump. Was this the new trend among the rich? Thinking about it, Boss Yuan Chu's eyes twitched again. Tell me, how much do you want? I'm starving, I'm waiting to buy a restaurant and have a feast. Yang Hong made a gesture as if he was about to make a payment. Boss Yuan Chu broke out in a cold sweat and shook his head and waved his hands frantically. Shrimp BB restaurant was his livelihood. If it was sold, he would starve. The food industry was not an ordinary industry, sometimes, even money couldn't buy it. What are you doing? We came here and you didn't give us a private room. Now we want to buy you, but you won't sell. What do you want? I'm waiting to have a feast, Yang Hong said angrily. Misunderstanding, this must be a misunderstanding, Boss Yuan Chu exclaimed repeatedly, then turned to the lobby manager and waitress, scolding them. What are you all doing? Can't you see this young master wants a big meal? Aren't you going to prepare it? Yes, 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 I'll go prepare a private room right away, the waitress said hastily. Come back, Boss Yuan Chu stopped her. What private room are you talking about? Open room number 1 for me, I want to entertain this young master. Hearing room number 1, the lobby manager quickly jumped out. Boss, I'll go prepare it. With that, she ran off in a flash. You want to treat me to a big meal? What do you mean? Yang Hong snorted, glancing sideways at the short, fat man. Young master, my subordinate was ignorant. As the boss, I naturally have to apologize to the guest. This meal is on me, you can eat whatever you want. Boss Yuan Chu patted his chest. A person who carries billions on his person, who can easily buy their restaurant, how could he be a small fry? Besides, he really did have something to ask Yang Hong for. As for young Master Ling and his group, they were completely ignored. Given the choice between a wealthy guest and a truly wealthy boss, anyone with a brain would choose the latter. Another dinner invitation, okay, Yang Hong accepted. Who wouldn't like free food? He was practically impatient waiting for the feast. You could see he wasn't performing at his normal level because of hunger. His punches and kicks were weak and powerless. Normally, he could easily send someone flying. That's for sure. Boss Yuan Chu waved his hand, summoning another person. Take these big bosses to room number 1. I'll go to the kitchen and have them prepare some lobsters so the big bosses can have a taste. Immediately, Yang Hong and the others followed the man, swaggering towards room number 1. Only after Yang Hong and his group disappeared did Boss Yuan Chu secretly wipe away a cold sweat. Then, his gaze fell on young Master Ling and his group. Gentlemen, as you've seen, those are truly big bosses. We're just a small restaurant, so please don't mind us. Mind? Young Master Ling's eyes twitched. How could he dare to mind? 200 million was merely pocket change. For their Ling's parts factory, that would require a huge order to generate profit. Frankly, Yang Hong and the others weren't even on his level. Young Master Ling waved his hands repeatedly. No, 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 how could we possibly mind? That's wonderful. Boss Yuan Chu smiled. Since you're all dining at our shrimp BB restaurant today, I'll be generous and treat you to the lobsters you ordered. No, no, we certainly have that kind of money. Young Master Ling's eyes lit up, but he still waved his hands in refusal. A single lobster was worth 10,000 star coins, saving that would be a significant expense for him. You don't need to be so polite, Boss Yuan said, pointing to the man still lying on the ground. Since all your men are injured, consider these lobsters my apology. He then turned and glared at the waitress. You, hurry up and serve these guests. Remember, 1 lobster per person, it's on us. He apologized a few more times before leaving. With the boss paying, there was no cut, but this time the waitress didn't dare to be pretentious. She quickly led young Master Ling and his group towards the private room. Who is that person? Could he also be a student from District 32 Academy? Yeah, I saw it. That person's electronic bracelet has at least 1 billion star coins. Tisk, what kind of big boss is he? Yes, such a young big boss. It's really enviable. Alright, stop talking. Suddenly, young Master Ling interrupted them. That's a genuine big boss, not at our level. Don't discuss it anymore, or you'll get into trouble. Hearing this, the group immediately fell silent. After all, they had angered him earlier because of their talkativeness. Room number 1 was the place where Shrimp BB Luxury Restaurant specially entertained important figures. Not long after Yang Hong and his group arrived, 4 food carts were pushed in. Each cart carried a plate. Each plate was about 1 meter long, and it even took 2 people to lift the plate to the table. Lifting the lid revealed a lobster that was almost half a meter long. Yang Hong's appetite was immediately whetted. He waved his hand and said, "Help yourselves, I'm going to start eating." Since the boss was eating, Hong Bao and Liang Weihong weren't going to stand on ceremony. They each grabbed a seat and started munching away. Seeing their eating habits, Fang Wen was dumbfounded. She quickly told the waiter to move the plates further away. If she were to sit face to face with Yang Hong and his companion, she probably wouldn't even have an appetite. Chapter 188 Boss Yuan Seeks Cooperation. As Yang Hong and the others were eating, Boss Yuan Chu walked in with a bottle of fine wine. Before he could even close the door, he froze. What was going on? Boss Yuan Chu's muscular frame bulged. The room was a mess. Shrimp shells and roe were piled high on the table, and glistening oil stains had spilled onto the floor. Yang Hong, who was eating quickly, had already snapped a shrimp claw in half with a snap, sticking his mouth straight in to get the meat, getting his face greasy. Boss Yuan Chu's eyes twitched repeatedly at the sight of him eating, almost reaching his forehead. Was this really the eating style of a boss with over 1 billion star coins? You're here. Quickly, have someone bring more food. I'm still not full, Yang Hong said anxiously, his mouth stuffed with lobster meat. By the way, these shrimp are good, have someone bring a few more. He then turned to the others and asked, do you want more, boss? I've had enough, Liang Weihong quickly replied. I'll have another one. Hong Bao looked up, sniffing his big red nose. This shrimp tasted good. He'd never tasted anything like it when he was with a wild wolf gang. Fang Wen didn't look up, offering no response. However, she'd only just started eating her shrimp and hadn't eaten much. 3 more servings, and also some other dishes. Yang Hong waved to Boss Yuan Chu. Yes, 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 a balanced meal with meat and vegetables. Boss Yuan Chu nodded repeatedly, then pointed at the waiter. You, go arrange it right away. The man hurriedly ran out of the room, his shoulders shaking as he ran, clearly having been holding back laughter for quite some time. Although Yang Hong and the others' table manners were rather unseemly, Boss Yuan Chu, being a restaurant owner, quickly recovered. He walked over to Yang Hong, pulled over a chair, and, ignoring the grease on the table, grabbed a few glasses. Young boss, come on, let's drink to that. With that, he opened the wine bottle, picked up the glass, and poured the wine. I don't drink alcohol, just get me a soft drink, something sweet. Yang Hong thought for a moment, then added, and it has to be bubbly. Sweet, bubbly, isn't that just a carbonated drink? Boss Yuan's hand trembled as he held the cup. If it weren't for the string of numbers on Yang Hong's electronic bracelet, he would have thought Yang Hong was just a kid. Young boss, we're all adults, a little alcohol shouldn't be a problem. Boss Yuan looked up at Hong Bao and asked with a smile, brother, don't you think so? Hong Bao had a large red nose, clearly a case of rosacea. One wonders how much alcohol one must drink to develop it. Hongbao didn't even look up, twitching his red nose. I listen to my boss. If he says no, I won't drink either. Right, we all like soft drinks, Liang Weihong added. Boss Yuan Qiu visibly paused, surprised by Yang Hong's strong ability to rally people. Fortunately, he wasn't easily embarrassed and quickly put on a smile. Alright, sometimes a change of pace is nice. I won't drink alcohol today, I'll just have some drinks with you. He pointed to another waiter. Go get us some drinks, sweet ones, and hurry. The waiter nodded and quickly ran out. Fortunately, he returned with several drinks, one of each kind. Seeing the waiter's quick thinking, Boss Yuan Qiu made a note of him. He refilled the glasses, and before Boss Yuan Qiu could speak, the clever waiter presented them to everyone. Boss Yuan Qiu was pleased with the waiter's quick thinking. He raised his glass. Come, let's drink to our good fortune in sitting together. Good fortune? Yang Hong rolled his eyes. If it weren't for the dinner invitation, they wouldn't have any connection whatsoever. He wiped the grease from his mouth. Do you need something from me? Tell me. If it's not too troublesome, maybe I'll agree. Oh. Boss Yuan Qiu was dumbfounded. What kind of person is this? What kind of talk is this? Does this guy really not understand social etiquette? Speaking so bluntly, how did he become a boss? Our boss is a Mecha parts boss. He's very busy. Just say what you need to say, or you won't be able to find him again later. Hongbao had already finished eating the shrimp meat and was breaking off a claw as he spoke. Mecha parts boss? Boss Yuan Qiu's eyes lit up. No wonder this guy is rich, he's a boss in the mecha industry. However, when he saw Yang Hong's age and his way of doing things, he couldn't help but frown. The mecha industry is highly competitive, and even he didn't dare to get involved casually. This boss, my name is Yang Hong. Don't call me boss, I'm not your boss, I won't pay you a salary, Yang Hong said casually. Well, Yang Hong's unconventional approach did make Boss Yuan Qiu sweat a bit, but fortunately, he was no ordinary person either, and quickly changed his tune. Brother Yang, how do you think these lobsters taste? Not bad, Yang Hong nodded. Lots of oil and meat, very tender, and quite sweet. Most importantly, he was hungry, and this stuff was perfect for filling his stomach. Speaking of which, Yang Hong looked up at Boss Yuan Qiu. By the way, why hasn't it arrived yet? I'm almost finished with this. That was an oversight. Boss Yuan Qiu quickly apologized, then pointed to the waiter. Go to the kitchen and arrange for these dishes to be served first. The waiter nodded and quickly went out. Boss Yang, I wonder if you've ever considered entering the food service industry, Boss Yuan Qiu asked with a smile. Enter the food service industry? Yang Hong was taken aback. That's right, let's do the lobster business together. Is this profitable? Yang Hong countered. Barely, but not bad. Barely? Just tell me how much you actually make. Yang Hong was dissatisfied. Having witnessed Yang Hong's unconventional behavior, Boss Yuan Qiu began to adapt, slowly holding up 2 fingers. 200 million? Is that per month? Yang Hong immediately perked up. No, Boss Yuan Qiu broke out in a cold sweat. If it were really 200 million per month, he wouldn't need to cooperate with Yang Hong. Around 20 million per month, only 20 million, Yang Hong immediately lost interest. This was far too slow a way to make money. Since arriving in this timeline, Yang Hong had built a wild wolf enterprise from scratch, achieving billions in revenue in just a few months. What use was a mere 20 million? Boss Yang, don't underestimate this amount. This is just the revenue of one restaurant. Boss Yuan Qiu immediately explained. If we open more restaurants, and the performance is good, earning 200 million per month is not difficult. Oh, Yang Hong was clearly uninterested. Boss Yuan continued to persuade him. Think about it, if you open a few more stores, wouldn't the total revenue easily exceed 100 million? Chapter 189 Cooperation in Food. It sounded good, but Yang Hong still wasn't interested. He didn't have the time for that now. A cooperative restaurant deal? Purely asking for trouble. He waved his hand, about to refuse, but suddenly stopped himself. His eyes darted around, and he feigned consideration, asking, how many restaurants do you plan to open? Seeing a glimmer of hope, Yuan Qiu immediately perked up. Shrimp BB restaurant has already established a complete system. Following this model, it would probably only cost around 30 to 40 million to replicate one. I remember your restaurant cost 100 million. Suddenly, Feng Wen, who had been quietly eating, adjusted her large rimmed glasses and asked. This is the main store, and it's near District 32 Academy. Our customers are mainly wealthy students, so we invested heavily in the renovations, said Boss Yuanqiu. So, where do you plan to open restaurants next? Fang Wen asked again. As Yang Hong's employee, she really didn't want to see him invest recklessly. After all, once she started working at Wild Wolf Enterprises, without money, she couldn't start projects, and without projects, what would happen to the knowledge she had gained? Fang Wen signed a 10-year contract with Wild Wolf Enterprises. If they really didn't have the money, would they have wasted 10 years? Fang Wen probably wanted to strangle Yang Hong. Central City is huge. Relying on District 32 Academy, we can open 4 more of the same restaurants, and then open more in some major city areas. Boss Yuanqiu already had a plan in mind. Then, alright, stop arguing. Fang Wen was about to speak when Yang Hong stopped her, glaring at her. I'm the boss, what's your rush? Besides, they were discussing things between men. What was a little girl doing interfering? Fang Wen adjusted her large rimmed glasses, a wrong look on her face. So, how many will you open? Yang Hong turned and asked. That depends on how much you plan to invest, Boss Yuanqiu said. Yang Hong raised an eyebrow. You're not just going to invest, and you won't contribute a single penny. How could that be? Boss Yuanqiu shook his head. By the way, how will the equity be distributed? Yang Hong asked again. 64, I get 60, you get 40. Boss Yuanqiu had barely finished speaking when he added, you only provide the money, I'll take care of everything else. And of my 60%, a portion will be allocated. It seems like I get a lion's share, but actually, your share is the real lion's share, is that so? Yang Hong blinked. Can you tell me, who else is a shareholder? There are several important figures in Xingfu who need to receive shares. They need at least 25%, Boss Yuanqiu said cautiously. Those receiving shares need to receive 25%, so Boss Yuanqiu's 60% would only be 35%. No wonder Yang Hong's 40% seemed like the lion's share. But damn it, being taken advantage of like this, Yang Hong wasn't happy. Can't we not share? No, Boss Yuanqiu shook his head vigorously. They control important channels in the food industry, including the lobster supply channels and the priority allocation rights for flying mechas. Damn, Yang Hong's eyes twitched. It seemed the food industry wasn't easy to navigate. You don't have your own flying mechas? Yang Hong suddenly asked. How could we? Applying for a flying mecha is a very troublesome matter. Besides, even if we get the application, we still need to submit an application to the Star Palace to take off. If we don't get shares, the application will be delayed indefinitely. By the time the application is approved, the lobster will be dead and rotting. Boss Yuanqiu spread his hands, indicating that he was powerless to help. Wait a minute, Yang Hong remembered that Uncle Zaba submitted applications very quickly. Almost as soon as one side submitted, the other side would be ready. No, he had to ask Uncle Zaba about this. Thinking this, Yang Hong raised his hand and opened Uncle Zaba's contact. Beep beep beep, Uncle Zaba's voice appeared. Hey kid, what's up? Have you arrived at the central city of District 32 yet? I've been here for ages, Yang Hong spoke casually. By the way, I have a question for you. Why did your application for the flying mech takeoff go so quickly? Uncle Zaba couldn't help but chuckle. Kid, I'm from the military. Of course, the application process is fast. Oh, is that so? Yang Hong asked again, if I apply for another flying mech, could you send some military personnel to be the pilots? Kid, I've already gotten you a flying mech pilot's license. Can't you pilot it yourself? I still have to go to school. Where would I find that much free time? Yang Hong pouted. Alright, let me tell you. At least a dozen of my men have flying mech pilot licenses. If you really need one, just transfer one over. Really? Yang Hong's eyes lit up, and he immediately perked up. How fast are they applying for flying licenses? Like me, although they don't receive military salaries, they still hold half-military positions. Okay, it's settled then. Send me a personnel list later. Hey, what exactly do you want? Before Uncle Zaba could finish speaking, Yang Hong had already hung up the call. Then, he dialed Deng, the beautiful lady at the Copper Sea Casino, again. Nearby, Boss Yuanqiu's eyes twitched uncontrollably. Military connections? He himself had a flying mech pilot license, and could easily transfer flying mech pilots with military positions? Was he kidding? Remembering Yang Hong's ugly behavior, He couldn't believe it a million times over. Yang Hong, what do you want? Before Deng, the beautiful woman, could finish speaking, she suddenly remembered something and spoke again. I heard you were specially recruited to the 32nd District Academy. Why haven't you gone there to register yet? I've already arrived, but classes haven't started yet. Then what do you want? I want to request 1 or 2 more flying mechas. Is it convenient for you? PFFT. Even through the electronic bracelet, the exaggerated sound from the other end could be heard. Deng, the beautiful woman, probably almost choked. You think applying for flying mechas is as easy as cabbage? 1 or 2? Didn't I apply for 1 for you last time? I have something to do, and I'm planning to apply for another 1. At this point, Yang Hong paused, then continued, I've even found mech pilots. More than 10. More than 10? Deng, the beautiful woman, didn't speak for a long time before finally saying, you're not planning to find the Eagle's subordinates, are you? What Eagle? Yang Hong blinked, confused. Alright, let's do this. Applying for 1 more is possible, but 2 is impossible, said the beautiful Deng. 1 is better than nothing. Yang Hong immediately nodded. By the way, once you've applied, contact me again. I plan to use it elsewhere. Okay. I'll contact you in 2 days. Then, the communication was cut off. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190. Wild Wolf Restaurant. Yang Hong didn't conceal his contacts from Boss Yuan Chu in either of them. However, there was a lot of information involved. Having connections with the military, over a dozen subordinates with flying mech pilot licenses at his disposal, and the ability to get flying mechas approved in just 2 days, this couldn't be achieved solely through military connections. More importantly, Yang Hong himself possessed a flying mech and a flying mech pilot license, and these licenses didn't seem to have been obtained through normal channels. Furthermore, he was a special recruit at the 32nd District Academy. Putting everything else aside, the fact that he was a special recruit at the 32nd District Academy alone made Boss Yuan Chu envious. Only those who had demonstrated significant ability in the mech industry could apply for such a position. Those who became special recruits were all incredibly wealthy. Yang Hong looked extremely young. It was impossible to tell that he possessed such immense power. Where could one find a partner with money, ability, and connections? Boss Yuan Qiu, beaming with excitement, cautiously asked, Boss Yang, you didn't apply for the flying mech for our future cooperation, did you? That's right, it's for transporting your lobsters. Yang Hong nodded casually. Hiss. Boss Yuan Qiu gasped, almost bursting with joy. Fang Wen froze, her large rimmed glasses slipping down. Just applying for a flying mech to transport lobsters? Did they think flying mechas were some kind of commodity? Hong Bao and Liang Weihong, merely sycophantic employees, ignored all this and continued munching on their lobsters. We've already finalized the deal. The application will be approved in 2 days. I'll also allocate a mech pilot for you then. There aren't as many regulations for applying for takeoff. Once one person applies, the other can take off immediately. With this mech, how much equity do you think we can save? If Boss Yang really provides the mech and a capable mech pilot, I estimate we can save at least 20% of the equity. Boss Yuan thought for a moment and immediately concluded. Another 0.5%? Yang Hong looked suspicious. It's unavoidable due to our connections with Big Lobster, Boss Yuan said. What if our restaurant is separate from your Shrimp BB restaurant, but still uses your channels? Yang Hong wasn't stupid and went straight to the point. Boss Yang, opening a new restaurant requires a lot of money on advertising, but if we use the Shrimp BB name, we can not only save on advertising costs but also instantly gain recognition, Boss Yuan said. Separate? I've already thought of a name. Yang Hong waved his hand. They've already applied for a lot of patents and titles, might as well use them. Besides, the titles they've obtained are definitely better than any other nonsense. Boss Yuan blinked, staring at Yang Hong. Let's call it Wild Wolf Restaurant. Yang Hong waved his hand, immediately bringing up the name PFFT. Hong Bao's eyes widened, spraying lobster meat all over the table. The Wild Wolf boss sent him here to keep an eye on Yang Hong, but unexpectedly, not long after, Yang Hong was already bringing up the Wild Wolf name again. If the Wild Wolf boss found out, he'd probably spit blood. Wild Wolf Restaurant. Boss Yuan was stunned at first, Then his eyes widened in horror, waving his hands repeatedly. No, no, you can't use the Wild Wolf name, no matter what. Why? Yang Hong asked. Wild Wolf is the name of the Wild Wolf King. You can use anything, but not this name. The Wild Wolf King is known throughout District 32, anyone doing small business knows about this power. Who dares to offend them? Yang Hong had thought something serious was going on, but it turned out to be just this. However, it seemed they had already applied for all sorts of industry-related names related to wild wolves, and the Wild Wolves gang hadn't reacted at all. So, Yang Hong decided to use the Wild Wolves name. I've already applied for a whole bunch of Wild Wolves-related names. This restaurant will use the Wild Wolves name. What? They applied for a whole bunch of Wild Wolves names? Boss Yuan Chu's eyes twitched uncontrollably. Hong Bao's eyes were also twitching uncontrollably. He had already heard that the Wild Wolves boss was hospitalized because of this. However, Yang Hong was the boss. He was just an employee and couldn't say anything. He could only listen carefully to report back to the Wild Wolves boss. Huh? Suddenly, Boss Yuan Chu remembered something. He hesitated for a moment, then carefully considered his words before asking, Boss Yang, I heard that a company called Wild Wolf has recently appeared in the mecha industry. It's your boss's. Liang Weihuang, his lips greasy, straightened his chest and slapped his hand forcefully. Our boss is the big boss of Wild Wolf Enterprise? Boss Yuan Chu exhaled a breath of relief. No wonder. Wild Wolf Enterprise used the name of the Wild Wolf King. At first, everyone thought it was the Wild Wolf Gang's own business, but later they heard that it was just using the name of the remote gang. However, this company had very strong backing, and even the Wild Wolf Gang didn't dare to cause trouble. Yang Hong was the big boss of Wild Wolf Enterprise, and he also demonstrated strong connections with the military and the Star government. Boss Yuan Chu's eyes began to flicker. Directly using the Wild Wolf name was more effective than any advertisement. As long as the Wild Wolf Gang didn't cause trouble, he would definitely become the top figure in the food industry. When the time comes, let alone those who want shares, they won't dare accept them even if they're offered them. Even the Wild Wolf Gang wouldn't dare mess with him. If they dared to make a move, they'd be asking for trouble. After careful consideration, Boss Yuan Chu finally spoke. Boss Yang, since you're providing the flying mechas and pilots, and I have some funds, if we cooperate, I estimate the Wild Wolf restaurant shouldn't lose money. Let's do this. We'll each contribute 1 billion, and try to open 20 Wild Wolf restaurants. As for the equity, you get 70%, I get 30%. Boss Yuan Chu wasn't stupid. Although he was contributing 1 billion, if managed well, each restaurant could bring in at least 10 or 20 million in monthly profit. This way, they could recoup their investment in just 1 or 2 years. Moreover, just a flying mechas alone would save them a significant amount of money. All of that was profit. Most importantly, Boss Yuan Chu could use this 1 billion to build a relationship with Yang Hong. Under normal circumstances, could someone with influence in both the military and the Star government easily handle a mere 10 billion? Especially since Yang Hong is also a boss in the mecha industry. Which mecha industry boss doesn't easily earn 10 billion? I get 7, you get 3. Yang Hong was astonished. This wasn't just $1 or $2, it was a profit-sharing arrangement involving investments of tens of billions. 1% represented a significant amount of income, and he was only taking 60% at most. Had this Yuan Qiu boss gone mad? Yang Hong blinked. Chapter 191 The Unhappy Beauty Deng. Yang Hong's intention to cooperate with Boss Yuan Chu stemmed from two main purposes. First, their Wild Wolf Enterprise didn't yet have a proper canteen. If Boss Yuan Chu could open a restaurant within the company premises, enjoying lavish meals every day would no longer be a problem. Second, and most importantly, all of Wild Wolf Enterprise's funds were currently being hidden away by the young girl, making it difficult for Yang Hong to access them. If he could cooperate with Boss Yuan Chu, spending money would be a breeze in the future, a veritable private treasury. 70%, that was more than expected. Was anyone really willing to be a fool? Yang Hong's gaze was suspicious. Actually, 30% is already quite a lot. In the past, the profit I could earn would have been around this amount, Boss Yuan Chu explained. Now, Boss Yang has provided the flying mechas and the flying mech pilots. Not to mention the shares saved, this alone will further increase the profits of Big Lobster. There was actually another point he hadn't explicitly stated. Simply using the Wild Wolf restaurant's name, without any wild wolf gang members causing trouble, is an intangible asset, even more useful than increasing investment. I'll still take 60%. Yang Hong wouldn't do something short-sighted like killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. Both sides should have input and output in their cooperation, otherwise, this kind of partnership wouldn't last. Seeing that Boss Yuan Chu was about to refuse again, Yang Hong stopped him, saying confidently, "You'll be managing the restaurant, so you still need to pay your hard-earned money. As for why I'm taking 60%, well, no reason needed, absolutely no reason needed." Boss Yuan Chu quickly waved his hand. Just providing the flying mechas and pilots alone, taking 60% was already beyond reason. Moreover, he needed to use this cooperation to lay the foundation with Yang Hong. Perhaps this would be an opportunity to enter the mecha industry in the future. All these conditions undoubtedly favored Boss Yuan Chu. What objection could he have to such a mutually beneficial arrangement? The cooperation had just been finalized when the sound of a food cart came from outside. As the giant lobsters were served, everyone laughed heartily. Yang Hong, forgetting all about talking to Boss Yuan Chu, immediately began to devour them. The lobsters were quite large. Yang Hong spent almost the entire day eating them. By the end, almost everyone was watching him eat. After all, he had ordered 3. Hong Bao's order was barely finished, his stomach was already overflowing. That evening, Boss Yuan Chu booked several rooms, as the flying metro wouldn't arrive for another 2 days. During these 2 days, Boss Yuan Chu began raising funds. For a businessman like him, $1 billion was no small sum. Although the Shrimp BB luxury restaurant earned a considerable amount, most of it was in fixed assets, and a significant portion was used for daily cash flow. Fortunately, he was also well off and had good connections. He raised enough capital in just over a day. Meanwhile, Deng, the beautiful lady, although she said it would take 2 days, received a communication signal on the second day. So fast? Is it already done? Yang Hong was surprised upon receiving the signal. His stomach was still slightly bloated, and he hadn't fully digested the 3 large lobsters. Deng, the beautiful woman, said irritably, "It's alright. But this second flying mech of yours has gone through quite a bit of trouble. Where are you planning to park it? You should park it at the parts center in the junkyard first." "A mech pilot is already prepared there," Yang Hong said. "Okay, as you wish." He had barely agreed when Deng's clear laughter rang out again. "Kid, I've helped you time and time again. How are you going to compensate me?" "Compensation?" Yang Hong raised an eyebrow. He had never thought about that. Okay, if he wanted compensation, he'd have to come up with a way. Money? Would Deng be short of money? She had already received a substantial referral fee for facilitating Yang Hong's cooperation with the royal court, and she was also the head of the Copper Sea gambling arena. Would she be short of money? Promises? Would Yang Hong's promises be effective? Right now, the flying mech still needs her help, so this can be ignored. Yang Hong thought and thought, for a long time, but still couldn't come up with a compensation plan. Seeing that she hadn't spoken for a long time, the beautiful Deng couldn't help but ask with a smile, "What, still haven't thought of anything? Once my restaurant is built, I'll treat you to lobster." Yang Hong scratched his head. "A restaurant?" The beautiful Deng sounded surprised. "You're planning to open a restaurant?" "No, weren't you waiting for the 32nd District Academy to open?" "Why are you planning to open a restaurant now?" "I'll open it if I want to. Do I need a reason?" Yang Hong picked his nose nonchalantly. "I'm planning to cooperate with someone to invest $1 billion to open a restaurant. Once it's done, I'll treat you to lobster as compensation." $1 billion to open a restaurant? That's a huge investment. Suddenly, the beautiful Deng fell silent. Yang Hong blinked, confused. "You have exceptional talent in mecha component design, and I don't want you to waste it. I hope your restaurant venture is just a spur-of-the-moment decision." Deng, the beautiful woman, said again, her tone serious. What was going on? Yang Hong was completely bewildered. "How much can you earn from the food industry? Look at the last time, just a few component designs were enough to earn you hundreds of millions. If you waste this skill, you'll ultimately lose more than you gain," Deng advised. What was this all about? Yang Hong was puzzled. He just wanted to open a restaurant. Was it really necessary? "I'll help you this far this time. If you neglect your duties again next time, don't blame me for not helping you anymore." With that, Deng hung up the call, seemingly dissatisfied with Yang Hong's decision to use his flying mecha to open a restaurant. Yang Hong couldn't understand. Even if he was in the mecha industry, he couldn't start on an empty stomach. His restaurant could both fill his stomach and serve as a small fortune, allowing him to withdraw money as needed. However, since the flying mech application had already been approved, he didn't bother with it anymore. Raising his hand, Yang Hong contacted Uncle Zaba again, briefly explaining the flying mech situation and giving him the approximate location of the Shrimp BB restaurant. Uncle Zaba didn't ask why and agreed on the spot. Of course, he also tried his best to get Yang Hong to raise the salary of the younger brother who became a flying mech pilot. What's the big deal? Raise, of course. Even if Uncle Zaba hadn't mentioned it, Yang Hong planned to offer a separate salary anyway. After all, could a flying mech pilot be considered on the same level as a factory worker? Of course, Yang Hong also inquired about the situation of the remaining flying mech pilots from Uncle Zaba and immediately decided to ask Su Yinru to raise their salaries, since there might be situations where these personnel would be needed in the future. If their skills are wasted, how can they be used in the future? Chapter 192 Back on the Virtual Platform, Part 1. After the two communications ended, Yang Hong slumped back onto the bed, but after only a short while, he sat bolt upright again. Although his stomach was still a little bloated, he tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. Damn it, I should have known better than to answer those two communications, Yang Hong grumbled. The flying mechas would take at least several hours to arrive, and he didn't want to wait in the room for hours. Fine, I'll just go for a walk, Yang Hong said, jumping out of bed, patting his slightly bloated stomach, and opening the door. Huh? What are you two doing waiting at the door, outside? Hong Bao and Liang Weihong stood on either side of him, like door gods. Hong Bao reacted incredibly quickly. He straightened up, his back ramrod straight, and without a second thought, blurted out, "If the boss needs me, Hong Bao, will go through fire and water for you." Hiss. Liang Weihong, who had just opened his mouth to say serving the boss, gasped. This flattery was so over the top, it was practically smug. And damn it, all the best flattery had been used up by that big red nose. He couldn't think of anything better to say. Looking at Hong Bao's bright red nose, Liang Weihong almost burst into tears. In the corridor, many guests passed by, their eyes widening in astonishment. They all assumed Yang Hong was some important figure, but upon seeing his attire, they shook their heads and turned away. A country bumpkin, what's he trying to prove? He's really never seen the world, they thought. They all believed Yang Hong had deliberately hired someone to elevate his status. Not bad. Yang Hong was satisfied with Hong Bao's performance. Boss, where are you planning to go now? Hong Bao leaned closer and asked in a low voice. Where to? Of course, to have some fun. Yang Hong walked out of the room. Have some fun? Hong Bao blinked, a little confused. He had known Yang Hong for a long time, but the other party always stayed in the workshop, and he still didn't know what Yang Hong liked. To be honest, Hong Bao almost thought that staying in the small dark room designing parts was Yang Hong's most fun project. At this moment, he was scratching his head, but he still couldn't figure out what Yang Hong meant by having fun. Liang Weihong saw this and immediately perked up, and quickly stood up. Boss, I saw a Mecha Virtual Center outside, want to go and play? Mecha Virtual Center? Yang Hong was stunned. Virtual driving seemed pretty fun, but he had just been warned by Uncle Zaba not to use the identity of Master Hong anymore. Could he really log in again? Boss, I've already inquired. Newcomers need to register an account to connect to the network, Liang Weihong said. Didn't I have an account last time? Yang Hong asked, troubled. That doesn't count. Uncle Zaba said someone's sabotaged it. Your account has been deleted. If you want to play again, you'll have to apply for a new account. A new account? Huh? Not bad. Yang Hong was quite tempted. By the way, yesterday when that fat boss saw me enter the Mech Virtual Center, I mentioned you liked it too, and he immediately applied for a membership card for each of us. Liang Weihong pulled 4 exquisite paper cards from his breast pocket. The people at the Mech Virtual Center said that as long as you show the card, you can immediately bind a new account. Oh, Yang Hong was surprised. Boss, each card has 10,000 star coins on it. Enough for us to play for a whole week, Liang Weihong said with a grin. The owner of this round-shaped restaurant was quite attentive, which pleased Yang Hong. He waved his hand and said, let's go take a look. After all, it was the owner's thoughtfulness, and he couldn't let it go to waste. Besides, free food, drinks, and entertainment, wasn't that exactly what he wanted? Since Feng Wen hadn't appeared, he guessed she was still sleeping, so Yang Hong didn't pay her any attention. Liang Weihong led the way, with Yang Hong following closely behind. Hong Bao, at the back, quickly turned on his electronic bracelet and recorded, likes to go out and have fun, usually plays Mecha virtual reality games. Damn it, if he didn't know Yang Hong's preferences, his flattery wouldn't have worked. The Mecha virtual reality center wasn't far from the Shrimp BB restaurant, but Yang Hong had been so hungry yesterday that he hadn't paid attention. As soon as he entered, Yang Hong was shocked by what he saw inside. In the center, there were 4 rows of virtual reality pods, at least 100 in number, surrounded by private rooms. This was more than 10 times larger than what he had seen in Haiyang City. From the screen displaying combat footage on one side of the virtual pod, it was clear that many people were already engaged in simulated driving inside. What's that? Suddenly, Yang Hong noticed several square, roughly a half-person high metal cans around him, each topped with a tray of drinks, darting about. These are robot waitresses. At that moment, a graceful, beautiful woman swayed over. Although Yang Hong and his companions were dressed casually, the woman didn't show any disdain. Instead, she smiled and asked, "You look unfamiliar. Are you new here?" "Yes," Yang Hong nodded, then his attention returned to the moving metal cans. "Robot waitresses? You use robots as waitresses. We're a professional-grade Mecha virtual reality center. Almost all our investment has gone into the virtual pods. We simply don't have the funds to hire a bunch of beautiful waitresses, so we have to buy a batch of robots as waitresses." The woman spread her hands, a helpless expression on her face. Despite this, Yang Hong, looking at the metal canister robots darting around, felt a strong urge to get his hands on one and tinker with it. Seeing his expression, the beautiful woman smiled and said, "If you have enough money, you can hire a robot attendant anytime." "Huh? Not free?" Yang Hong rubbed his nose, surprised. "These robots cost a lot. If they were all free, we don't know when we break even," the woman explained with a smile. "But don't worry, the robot attendant service fee isn't high." "How much?" Yang Hong immediately pressed, genuinely interested in these metal canisters. "A single service costs 10 star coins, but renting for a whole day costs 10,000 star coins," the woman shrugged. 10 star points for a single service? 10,000 star points for a whole day? What's going on? Yang Hong was bewildered. The alluring woman immediately explained, "A single service costs 10 star coins. If you want to avoid the hassle, you can rent a robot waiter to serve you." Liang Weihong's heart nearly pounded. 10 star coins were enough to fill his stomach, and 10,000 star points could keep him comfortably living in the Mecha junkyard for 2 or 3 months. This Tin Kun was even better at making money than him. His gaze was fixed on the metal cans. Although Hong Bao had been a minor leader in the Wild Wolf gang for a while, the price of 10,000 star coins a day still surprised him. "Of course, if you don't have enough money, you can ignore them," the woman continued, shrugging. "However, if you want anything to eat or drink, you'll have to make a few more trips yourself." Chapter 193 Back on the Virtual Platform, Part 2. Damn. They said they couldn't afford a pretty waitress? This beauty's money-making methods are even more shrewd than Su Yingru's, that penny pincher. It's obvious she wants these metal cans to generate extra income. Yang Hong wiped a bead of sweat from his brow. However, he was genuinely interested in the metal cans. As for single-use services, forget it. He planned to rent one and then study and tinker with it when he got tired of playing with it. "Little Hong, don't you have 4 membership cards?" Yang Hong turned to Liang Weihong and held out his right hand. "Give them to me." Liang Weihong immediately pulled out a membership card and handed it over. "I have 4 membership cards here, each topped up with 10,000 star coins. We 3 will each open one account, and we won't open the last one. Just exchange it for a robot waitress." "Huh? Aren't these the 4 cards opened by Boss Yuan of Shrimp BB Restaurant? How did they all end up in your hands?" The beauty took them, glanced at them, and looked suspicious. "Boss Yuan Kiu gave them to us, so they are ours," Yang Hong shrugged in response. The beautiful woman was surprised and glanced at Yang Hong again. "I didn't expect you guys could actually get involved with Boss Yuan Kiu." HMPH Yang Hong hummed without explaining. "However, these 4 cards are for registration services only, no refunds. If you plan to hire a robot waiter, you'll have to pay an extra 10,000 star coins," the woman said. "What? Is this even possible?" Yang Hong was dumbfounded. "There's money in the cards, why can't I get a refund?" "I already said, these cards are for registration services only, they can only be used to register accounts. Not for refunds, the woman said apologetically. Swish, the door opened again, and several young people walked in. Sister Key, top up 20,000 star coins for each account first, one of them, with dyed yellow hair, called out to the woman. Huh? Another newbie. Suddenly, this person's eyes lit up when he saw the cards in the woman's hand. What? Planning to bully the newbies again? The woman called Sister Key glanced at him. How could that be? We were just having a normal conversation. As future Mecha pilots, exchanging technical information is perfectly normal, the blonde-haired young man chuckled. That's right, Sister Key, are we not allowed to exchange technical information? Sister Key, are you showing favoritism again? The people around the blonde-haired young man also laughed. Pay first, Sister Key said irritably, giving them a fierce glare. The blonde-haired young man was straightforward, immediately swiping 70,000 star coins. We also need an additional robot waiter. Robot waiters are better. Although they're cold, their service attitude is top-notch. Yeah, it only costs 10,000 star coins. We can eat whatever we want and drink whatever we want. Sister Key's place is the best, the people around him echoed. I bet you guys offended some beautiful waitresses elsewhere and ended up having nowhere else to go, so you came here, Sister Key snorted. The three of them looked embarrassed. Back at the service counter, Sister Key quickly topped up their accounts, and then a metalcan slid up to them. Dear guests, how can I help you? Wait a minute, the blonde-haired young man waved his hand. Alright, show me your identification, I'll help you register accounts. Sister Key turned to Yang Hong and the other two and called out. After a pause, she added. If you've applied for accounts elsewhere, you need to say so beforehand, otherwise don't blame me if you get kicked out when you enter the virtual network. Thanks to Xingfu's vigorous promotion, except for special individuals, generally only one account is allowed per person on the virtual network. Yang Hong's Master Hong account had long been cancelled, and Liang Weihong only used the local area network briefly and still had an account. I have an account here. Hong Bao sniffed his big red nose and shouted, while turning to Yang Hong to explain, Boss, I used to be a small leader in the Wild Wolf Gang, so they issued virtual network accounts. Oh, Yang Hong nodded, unconcerned. A small leader in the Wild Wolf Gang? Sister Key's face turned pale instantly. She looked up and her gaze swept over Hong Bao. Give me the account. The three young men were also stunned. The Wild Wolf Gang was infamous. Anyone with a modicum of status had heard of them, and they were all formidable figures. This guy was a member of the Wild Wolf Gang, and a minor leader at that? The blonde-haired young man immediately winked at his companions, preparing to leave. By the way, if we apply for the robot service, do we need to pay 10,000 star coins? Yang Hong suddenly asked. Yes, knowing that Hong Bao had once been a member of the Wild Wolf Gang, Sister Key's previous smile vanished. Beep beep beep. Yang Hong activated his electronic bracelet and immediately swiped 10,000 star coins. What was that? A string of numbers almost blinded Sister Key. She even forgot to collect the money. The blonde-haired group was stunned, their eyes glued to the screen. Although Yang Hong only swiped 10,000 star coins before deactivating the electronic bracelet, the fleeting 10-digit number caught their attention. 10 digits. The blonde-haired man almost couldn't breathe, his eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Hurry up, we're waiting to pilot our mechas. Seeing Sister Key standing there, Yang Hong urged. Oh, I'll get it done right away. Sister Key finally realized what was going on. A member of the Wild Wolf Gang is a subordinate, and so much money in his account. Who was this person? Sister Key couldn't suppress her surprise, but she also began to speculate about Yang Hong's identity. To be honest, 10 billion yuan wasn't much for a boss in the mecha industry, but for an ordinary boss like Sister Key, it was an astronomical figure. Even her mecha virtual center only cost around 10 million yuan, and currently only generated a few 100,000 in revenue. Of course, under special circumstances, monthly income could easily reach millions, but those situations were rare. Yellow Hair's eyes gleamed with greed, but remembering Hong Bao's identity, his face darkened, and he quickly pulled his two companions away. Sister Key quickly helped Yang Hong and the others set up new accounts, and then deposited 10,000 star coins into Hong Bao's account. Beep beep. A metalcan-shaped robot appeared before Yang Hong. Respected guest, what do you need? Take us to the private room. Yang Hong waved his hand. The metalcan robot first shot out a scanning beam, then emitted a hoarse, mechanical voice. Are there 3 of you in total? That's right, possessing intelligent programming? Yang Hong's interest in the metalcan robot grew stronger. Esteemed guests, please follow me. As soon as the words were finished, the metalcan robot began to lead the way. Yang Hong and his group quickly followed. Who exactly are these guys? Sister Qi wondered, watching Yang Hong's retreating figure. Chapter 194 Back on the Virtual Platform, Part 3. Although Wang Mao and his gang had left, they remained in the lobby. Did you see that? One of them asked. Yes, that string of numbers was a full 10 digits, another man exclaimed, his eyes practically popping out of their sockets, his gaze fixed on the electronic bracelet on Yang Hong's wrist. Wang Mao remained silent, his expression shifting between anger and uncertainty. At that moment, Yang Hong and his group followed the robotic waiter to a private room. Wang Mao immediately led the two men to another private room next door. Brother Wang Mao, you wouldn't be after that kid, would you? The first to speak exclaimed, startled. You guys said it yourself, that's a 10-figure sum, said the blonde-haired guy. If we could get even a tenth of it, it would be enough, the other man said, but that guy has members of the Wild Wolf gang with him, and I heard he's a minor leader. The blonde-haired guy snorted, HMPH, we know people in the Wild Wolf gang too, and this guy has a pretty high position in the gang. If he can come, why should we be afraid of some nobody? The other man hesitated for a moment, but quickly spoke up again, brother blonde-haired guy, someone who can carry that much money can't be an ordinary person, right? Didn't you see the kid's clothes? And he even speaks with a regional accent, the other man said. That guy is probably a nouveau riche from a remote area. I bet he just became a student at District 32 Academy and this is his first time in Central City. The blonde-haired guy nodded. At District 32 Academy, we're considered to have powerful backers. If things get out of hand, we can spend some money to smooth things over. Does a country bumpkin like him dare to cause trouble at District 32 Academy? Hearing this, the other man perked up. Brother blonde-haired guy, what should we do now? I'll notify that big shot from the Wild Wolf gang right away, and then find a chance to stall for time. Yellow hair narrowed his eyes, revealing a ruthless glint. Beep beep beep. The communication was quickly established. Brother Tong, this is Yellow Hair, what's up? I found a big fish over here, carrying over 1 billion. Someone carrying over 1 billion can't be an ordinary person, can he? You're not mistaken, are you? No, absolutely not. Brother Tong, that kid looks like a country bumpkin, probably from a nouveau riche family in some remote area. Oh, by the way, he's with a member of the Wild Wolf gang. I heard he used to be a minor leader. Oh? Is that so? Tell me the address. I want to see which Wild Wolf gang minor leader is actually hanging around with a nouveau riche. Yellow hair immediately gave the address. Wait here, I'll be there in about an hour. Brother Tong, you see, I'm the one who found this guy. If you make money, could you give me a small share? Yellow hair asked hesitantly. No problem. I, Tong Xianjun, never mistreat my subordinates. No matter how much we get this time, I'll give you 30% of the profits. Okay, Brother Tong, we'll be waiting for you. The communication ended, and Wang Mao glanced at the two men. Did you hear that? Brother Tong will give us 30% of the profits. You two have to do your part this time. 30% of a 10-figure sum, divided among themselves, would definitely amount to hundreds of millions. The two men were as excited as if they'd been injected with adrenaline, nodding repeatedly. Let's go. Let's go find an excuse to earn some pocket money. Wang Mao waved his hand. Inside the private room, the robot waiter didn't just act as a waiter. Upon hearing that Yang Hong had never logged into the virtual network before, it immediately guided Yang Hong step by step through the registration process, then changed his name, completely denying Hong Bao and Liang Weihong any chance to flatter him. Their chance to flatter him was gone just like that. The two men exchanged glances, both seeing the resentment in each other's eyes towards the robot. Name? Yang Hong asked, resting his chin on his hand. At this point, even without a chance to flatter, Liang Weihong stepped forward. Boss, we need to change to a better name. The old one can't be used anymore. It can't be used. I know. Yang Hong nodded. Having just been warned by Uncle Zaba, how could he dare use the name Master Hong again? It would be blatantly asking for a beating. However, thinking of a new name was also a troublesome matter. Let's call him Master Insect. Suddenly, the devouring insect's voice rang out. Yang Hong, since it's all a virtual world, how can you not call yourself Master? Besides, your name only has 2 characters. Master Hong can't be used anymore. So you can't call yourself Master Yang, right? The devouring insect said. It seemed to make sense. Yang Hong blinked. Master Insect is a good name, majestic and imposing, and aren't all the troublesome things solved by Master Insect? The devouring insect continued. This did sound a bit majestic, but what did this name have to do with Yang Huang? Yang Hong, let Master Insect also leave a name in the virtual world. You can't just drink the soup and leave me with nothing, can you? The devouring insect said pitifully. Damn it. Yang Hong wiped away a cold sweat. When did he become so meticulous about everything? Fine, it's just a virtual world name, let the dead bug have it. He'll need the bug someday anyway. Call me Master Bug. Yang Hong typed Master Bug with both hands. Seeing that the name Master Bug was actually used, the devouring bug was smug. Liang Weihong breathed a sigh of relief. If Master Hong reappeared, he'd definitely be in deep trouble. Not only the military, but even Uncle Zab wouldn't let him off the hook. Robot attendant, name input complete. Now just wait for status information and data to be generated. Okay, what's next? Last time, Yang Hong was secretly connected to the network, basically completely blind, unaware of anything. Robot attendant, wait, please wait quietly. At this moment, Hong Bao and Liang Weihong were still standing to the side. The robot attendant turned around. Respected guests, do you also need access guidance? No, no, the two said in unison, waving their hands repeatedly. Hong Bao already had an account and didn't need to register. Liang Weihong had read through almost the entire thing and knew it by heart. You two go play too. Yang Hong waved his hand, indicating that the two should also have some fun. Boss, you play, you play. Liang Weihong quickly waved his hand. Hong Bao also had a big smile on his face and twitched his big red nose. Boss, I'll just stay here. If you need anything, just give the word, and I, Hong Bao, will go through fire and water for you. Here we go again? Liang Weihong was speechless. Why did the big red nose steal all the good flattery? If this continued, his position would be in jeopardy. Looking at Hong Bao's constantly twitching big red nose, Liang Weihong's eyes were filled with resentment. Knock knock. There was a knock on the door. Chapter 195. We are all LV1. Although Liang Weihong was quite far from the door, he ran as fast as he could after hearing the knock. Before the robotic waiter could react, he was already at the door. The door opened. It's you? What are you doing here? Liang Weihong frowned. The people who came in were none other than the blonde-haired man and his group. The blonde-haired man smiled. We're here to challenge. Challengers, ever heard of them? Challenge my foot. Liang Weihong could tell from their appearance that they were here to cause trouble, so he immediately closed the door. The blonde-haired man panicked and quickly blocked the door. Brother, that's not very nice of you. Nice? Liang Weihong rolled his eyes. Damn it, he wouldn't even let him close the door. You're the one who's not nice. Challenge. We're here to challenge, the blonde-haired man shouted inside. He had already figured out that Liang Weihong was just an errand boy, and the one inside was the real deal. Sure enough, Yang Hong poked his head out of the virtual pod. Where? What challenge? Seeing Yang Hong pop out, the blonde-haired man and his group forced their way into the private room past Liang Weihong. He grinned and said, you guys must be here to register at District 32 Academy too, right? Yang Hong nodded. That's right, the blonde guy chuckled. Students at District 32 Academy are really into virtual mech challenges these days, especially face-to-face challenges like this one. Oh, Yang Hong blinked. You're registering this year, so we're only a year ahead of you. Logically, you should call me senior, or whatever you prefer, the blonde guy said. Oh, Yang Hong continued to blink. The blonde guy looked expectant, waiting for Yang Hong to call him senior or great uncle so he could continue the conversation. Yang Hong didn't speak, just stared at the blonde guy and the others. What was going on? After a long silence, the blonde guy's brows were furrowed, and he felt incredibly awkward. What are you guys doing? Finally, Yang Hong spoke, but what he said made the blonde guy's eyes nearly pop out. How could this be? The blonde guy and the others were dumbfounded. This wasn't how the script was supposed to go. Yang Hong should have addressed him as senior or elder brother before explaining what a challenge was and what the benefits would be. That would have been more appropriate. Speak if you have something to say, otherwise get out. Yang Hong waved his hand dismissively. Senior? Senior my foot. He only entered District 32 Academy for the library. Once he'd read all the books, he'd be done with it and leave. He couldn't be bothered with these greenhorn students. "We're here to challenge," the blonde-haired guy immediately shouted. "Challenge, challenge, yes, yes, we're all here to challenge," the other two chimed in. "Challenge? What kind of challenge?" Yang Hong asked suspiciously. "It's the challenge of this virtual machine pod," the blonde-haired guy immediately pointed to the pod. "Our boss won't accept the challenge, you can leave," Liang Weihong frowned. "That's right, our boss just registered a new account, what kind of challenge are you here to challenge?" Hong Bao also pointed with his big red nose. Wang Mao already knew Yang Hong had opened a new account, but he was only there to stall for time and earn some pocket money, so he had a plan. He quickly pushed out one of his companions. "He's also a level 1 newbie, perfect for challenging your boss." "A level 1 newbie?" Yang Hong blinked. "The virtual battle network has levels. If your performance is good, your level will go up. If your performance is bad, your level will not only not go up, but will go down," Wang Mao explained. At this moment, Yang Hong's information on the virtual battle network was generated. ID, Bugmaster LV. 1 title, newbie who hasn't even passed the tutorial record. 0 wins 0 losses. Wang Mao, with sharp eyes, saw Yang Hong's information, sneered inwardly, and ignored him, walking to another virtual pod to open the battle network for his accomplice, then having the other person enter the account. ID, Man Like the Wind LV. 1 title, Trash Record. 170 wins 6,000 losses. "Look, we're all level 1, Wang Mao said. Hong Bao and Liang Weihong exchanged bewildered glances. Over 6,000 battles and only 170 wins? Could this guy have just gotten lucky? Even Liang Weihong, who already had an account, had beaten many high-level AI opponents. They figured if he had an account, he could have won quite a few more. This guy's record was so bad he couldn't even beat low-level AI. This guy, true to his title, was really trash. Both nodded in agreement. Over 6,000 battles and only 170 wins, Yang Hong exclaimed in surprise. "Then you can rest assured," the blonde-haired man said with a smile. "Actually, we people from District 32 Academy all like challenges because they allow us to exchange experiences and improve our skills. So, seeing you newbies, we decided to come and give you some pointers. 6,000 battles and only a little over 100 wins? He could give pointers?" Yang Hong almost spat on the man's head. Besides, over 6,000 battles, hadn't he even made any progress? Yang Hong's gaze towards the man turned strange. However, the man showed no embarrassment whatsoever. Actually, among the three, the blonde-haired guy had the best record, followed by this person, while the other was the weakest. But all three of them had offended someone at another mech virtual center, resulting in them being nerfed thousands of battles, forcibly reducing their levels to LV1. Not to mention this person, even the blonde-haired guy and the others were at LV1. However, this person had the lowest win rate among the three because he rarely used the virtual battle network. "No fight, no fight," Yang Hong waved his hand. Fighting such a character would definitely lower Insect Lord's ranking. No fight? The blonde-haired guy was dumbfounded. This wouldn't do. If Yang Hong didn't fight, what excuse would they have to earn pocket money? If we're going to send someone, it has to be someone with a decent record. Only winning a little over 100 out of 6,000 battles, do you really think he can give me pointers? Yang Hong countered. A good record? Yellow Hair's eyes lit up. He quickly logged out of the other person's account, clicked away, and logged into his own account in a flurry. ID, Super Mighty Man LV. 1 title, Trash Record. 2,355 wins, 10,000 losses. "Look, my account is pretty good, right?" Yellow Hair pointed to the number 2,355, very proud, over 2,000 wins. Hong Bao's big red nose twitched incessantly, almost bursting out laughing. Liang Weihong laughed even more unrestrainedly. Super Mighty Man? Although he had over 2,000 wins, damn it, that was followed by 10,000 losses. Yang Hong's face immediately darkened. What was the difference between him and that guy before? Yellow Hair remained calm and explained. "I was originally a LV7 expert. 3,000 battles, with over 2,000 wins, I easily reached LV7, because I offended someone before, I kept getting nerfed and dropped to LV1, Yellow Hair shrugged helplessly. "Oh," Yang Hong was surprised. "Did you want someone strong?" "Of the three of us, I'm the strongest," the blonde guy was a little smug. Yang Hong frowned. "Let me make it clear, I'm quite strong. I can't give you pointers for no reason." Yang Hong knew that, of course, But half a day had passed, and he still couldn't figure out what these guys were up to. Showing off their LV1 level? That was quite embarrassing. Chapter 196. We don't gamble, we just bet some. Do you know what a betting contest is? The blonde-haired guy asked casually. You mean the kind of betting in the Mecha arena? He figured Yang Hong, with his huge sum of money, must have been to many. A betting contest? Yang Hong raised an eyebrow and nodded. Sure enough, the blonde-haired guy clapped his hands and laughed. Good that you know. For us challengers, the challenge method usually involves betting. Of course, we're all students, so we won't bet too much. You agree, right? The blonde-haired guy turned to the other two. At the same time, he winked. Yes, we're all students. We usually just play small games, definitely not like the big betting in the arena. The two quickly agreed. A betting contest? Liang Weihong was secretly delighted. At this point, he knew exactly what these guys wanted. Hong Bao's eyes twitched. It was better not to mention betting. When it came to betting, he only respected one person, Yang Hong. In the betting duel at Bar 12, Yang Hong won back a parts center. Then, he heard about another betting duel in Haiyang City where he won tens of millions from another bigwig in the Wild Wolf Gang. In no time, he had both business and money, directly solidifying his position in the mecha industry. Not to mention others, even the Wild Wolf Gang leader would give Yang Hong a wide berth. Betting with him was definitely a waste of money. Hong Bao glanced sideways at Wang Mao and the others. Why not take the money? Yang Hong smiled. You guys aren't here to bet, are you? No, no, no. Wang Mao shook his head and waved his hands. How could we? We're good students. We never participate in betting. Never participate in betting? Yang Hong's smile vanished instantly. He just didn't have money to offer, and all that rambling was a waste of his time and energy. He was here to have fun, not to waste time talking. Yang Hong, annoyed, waved his hands repeatedly. What's the point if we don't gamble? Get out, don't waste my time on battle.net. The blonde-haired guy's eyes twitched. What's going on? Why does this guy always act unpredictably? Everyone who gets into District 32 Academy is a model student. They hate gambling and fighting. But this nouveau riche is the opposite. Oh, right, he's a nouveau riche, so he can't be explained by common sense. Yes, that must be it. The blonde-haired guy quickly smiled obsequiously. We won't gamble, but we can have a little sparring, betting a little as a challenge reward? Yes, betting a little will liven things up. It'll also increase enthusiasm. The two men following him quickly echoed. Oh, Yang Hong looked at them and asked, a little sparring? How exactly do you plan to have a little sparring? To be honest, if the bet was too small, he really wouldn't be interested. 1,000 or so, not even enough for a meal. There's a chance. Yellow Hair's eyes lit up. The three exchanged glances, their eyes gleaming with excitement. Of course, a hint of greed lurked beneath the surface. They were there to earn some pocket money. 100,000. Yellow Hair swallowed hard, holding up one finger. Minimum 100,000. The three looked at Yang Hong expectantly. 100,000, Yang Hong thought, chin in hand. 100,000 is a bit low. Can you raise it a little higher? Right now, he had over $1 billion in his electronic bracelet. 100,000 was truly insignificant, not even a drop in the ocean. Hong Bao remained silent. Liang Weihong also kept quiet. They were just delivering food to the boss anyway. Maybe the boss would reward them if he won. The two couldn't wait for Yellow Hair to raise the amount even further. Yellow Hair touched his electronic bracelet, exchanged a glance with the two behind him, then gritted his teeth and held up another finger. 1 million, his heart pounded as he spoke. This was a huge sum. Although those who could enter District 32 Academy generally came from wealthy families, earning 1 million per game was still a significant sum for them. The three of them combined barely managed 2 or 3 million, and that included tuition and living expenses. However, to make money, investment was essential. The blonde-haired guy was shrewd. He had already planned ahead. He'd give them a small taste of success in the first 2 games, then unleash his power in the third, gradually recouping the money and earning some pocket money along the way. Alright, 1 million it is. Let's try a few games first. Yang Hong finally nodded. How are you? The three of them breathed a sigh of relief. They were genuinely afraid Yang Hong wouldn't agree. After all, someone with over $1 billion wouldn't care about anything less than 10 million. If they knew that Yang Hong's electronic bracelet only had tens of thousands of star coins a few days ago, they would be furious. We have one more condition, the blonde-haired guy added. Yang Hong's expression turned displeased. He was getting impatient with all the rambling before they'd even started. Since our challenge is somewhat of a gambling match, we should find a middleman to give the money to first. If we win, we can get it back directly from him. What do you think? Wang Mao said. Wang Mao and his group only had a little over 3 million. He had already decided to throw the first 2 rounds. If they really gave the money and won the 3rd round, but the other party refused to pay, they would be left with no recourse and couldn't even take it back. That would be a huge loss. Oh, you're right. We should find a middleman to witness it, Yang Hong nodded. He was also afraid that the other party wouldn't pay. This was a problem, and a big one at that. Can they be the middlemen? Yang Hong pointed to Hong Bao and Liang Weihong. No, we can't use our own people. Wang Mao didn't even think about it and pointed to the robot waiter. This robot has a gambling function. We can just give it the money before we start. Really? Hearing that the robot had such a function, Yang Hong's eyes lit up. He couldn't wait to take one apart and study it in detail. You watch. Wang Mao turned to look at the robot waiter. Activate the betting function. The robot attendant immediately responded in a stiff, mechanical voice. Dear guest, you are activating the betting function. Would you like to continue? Continue, said Wang Mao. Beep beep beep, the betting function has been activated. Dear guest, would you like the intermediary function? Activate. Wang Mao nodded. The intermediary function requires a 1% handling fee. Dear guest, would you like to continue? The robot attendant responded. Continue. The intermediary function has been activated. After the robot attendant finished speaking, a beep sounded, and a virtual numeric keypad appeared. Dear guest, please enter your virtual cabin number and electronic banking account number for easy management of your betting funds. Wang Mao glanced at the virtual cabin number, entered it, and then entered his electronic banking account number as well. After entering, he looked at Yang Hong. Your turn. Just enter your account and virtual cabin number. Yang Hong didn't remember the account number, so he simply turned on his electronic bracelet again. Looking at the 10-digit number, Wang Mao and the others made gurgling sounds in their throats. Greed was blatantly displayed in their eyes. Liang Weihong and Hong Bao exchanged a glance, both seeing mockery in each other's eyes. Soon, Yang Hong finished typing and then casually swiped 1 million star coins. Wang Mao also swiped 1 million on the spot without hesitation. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 LV1 A Newcomer? After transferring the money, the blonde-haired man quickly entered the virtual pod and selected a mech. At this point, Yang Hong had only just registered and hadn't even looked at the tutorial yet. However, for him, it didn't matter whether he looked at the tutorial or not. After all, Master Hong was famous. It was just that now he was called Master Bug. Entering the virtual game, Yang Hong didn't hesitate and immediately chose a flying mech, and the standard version at that. Just after selecting it, a message started flashing. ID, Super Fierce Man has challenged you. Do you accept? Yang Hong had just clicked on the message, but before he could press the accept button, another message appeared, directly overriding the challenge message. Given that you haven't read the tutorial, it is recommended that you read the tutorial before challenging. Huh? No response. Yang Hong was puzzled. At this point, no matter what he did, the screen didn't respond at all. What? No response? The blonde-haired man's face turned pale. He had already transferred 1 million, and was he going to be stuck with a robot waiter like this? He rushed out of the virtual pod in a few quick strides, his speed astonishing. The blonde-haired man arrived at Yang Hong's pod even faster than the robot attendant. Peeking inside, Yang Hong's heart finally relaxed. This is the newbie protection mode, the blonde-haired man sighed, coughed, and straightened his expression. Since we're already on battle.net, and you haven't read the tutorial yet, the system will automatically provide you with protection, to prevent newcomers from being bullied by experienced players as soon as they log in. The system provides a protection mode. However, at this moment, the blonde-haired man suddenly felt that this newbie protection mode was incredibly annoying. So what do I do? Yang Hong asked irritably. What else could he do but read the tutorial? The blonde-haired man thought irritably. However, Since the other party was there to give him money, he wasn't in a hurry. The tutorial is a mandatory task of the system, you have to read it before you can continue. Saying this, he patiently helped Yang Hong enter the tutorial. The tutorial was nothing more than teaching how to choose a mech, how to operate it, and how to deal with challenges on the battle network, the most basic stuff. But Yang Hong had already fought, so how could he possibly watch it? He yawned, feeling quite bored, and was almost asleep. The blonde guy was practically bursting with laughter. A newbie is a newbie. No skills whatsoever, and unwilling to accept instruction. It would be strange if he won. Soon, the tutorial ended, and the mech Yang Hong had chosen appeared on the screen. A flying mech? The blonde guy's lips twitched. Flying mechas had been all the rage for a while, but that hype quickly died down. After all, how many people could actually become flying mech pilots? And even if you did become a flying mech pilot, you needed to apply for permission to take off, and even the airspace had to be designated. You were practically inferior to a regular mech pilot. Now, besides the nouveau riche and a few people aspiring to be flying mech pilots, there were very few people still choosing flying mechas on virtual mech platforms. Yellow hair sized Yang Hong up and down again. Clearly, he wasn't in this group, nor was he among those aspiring to be flying mech pilots. This guy's a real nouveau riche. Who else can I mess with if not him? Yellow hair thought to himself, laughing inwardly. Alright, you can accept my challenge now. Saying this, Yellow hair even helped Yang Hong click on his challenge. Look, this super powerful guy is me. Alright, I saw it already. Yang Hong waved, signaling him to hurry back to the virtual pod. The mech Yellow hair had chosen was a proper amphibious mech, belonging to the beast-type mech. Ready. Go. The battle began. Clap clap clap. Yang Hong's hands kept slapping the control panel, without even moving the control stick, directly launching missiles from the spot. This was one of the devouring worm's powerful killing moves. This is, looking at the screen full of missiles, Yellow hair's eyes twitched involuntarily. Damn it. He was about to curse inwardly. Although he wanted to hold back, he was helpless against the screen full of missiles. Even without holding back, he couldn't handle this situation. Moreover, this fighting style was clearly one of the underhanded tactics used by the flying mechas recently. Although Wang Mao had over 2,000 wins, he was still just a student and hadn't even obtained his mech pilot's license. How could he possibly dodge as easily as Nok Ling Feng? Besides, Nok Ling Feng was a military mech pilot with S-class strength. And most importantly, wasn't his opponent a newly registered LV1 rookie? When did rookies become able to launch missiles so calmly and rhythmically? Wang Mao's eyes narrowed into slits. Boom. With no way to avoid it, as one missile landed behind his mech, the remaining missiles immediately rained down like a flood. In the blink of an eye, Wang Mao's mech was reduced to fragments. Wang Mao jumped to his feet, his face dark and gloomy, like a storm cloud after rain. He strode to Yang Hong's virtual pod. Up, just arrived. Yellow hair stumbled, nearly losing his balance, and felt unwell. Yang Hong's hands were idly tapping on the control panel, without touching the joysticks. The flying mech's missiles were launched smoothly in this rhythm, creating a screen-wide attack. How could this be? Was this guy even LV1? Yellow hair almost vomited blood. Were you playing seriously? Yellow hair demanded angrily. Yes, I was very serious, Yang Hong replied, tapping his hands even more rhythmically. At that moment, a robotic waiter scurried forward. Dear guest, congratulations on winning the bet. After deducting 1%, you have 1.98 million left, which has been transferred to your account. Yellow hair couldn't hold back any longer, his throat tightened, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and swallowed it back. 1 million. 1 million. Tears welled up in Yellow hair's eyes. Although he had intended to let the game slide, losing 1 million like that would break even the strongest heart. If the kid in front of him continued to fight this way in the next 2 rounds, his 3 million would be lost without a trace. No, he absolutely couldn't let him fight like this again, the blonde-haired man thought through gritted teeth. We came here to challenge each other to improve our skills. If you use such underhanded tactics again, don't blame me for going back on my bet. The blonde-haired man's eyes lit up, and he immediately had an idea. Oh, Yang Hong blinked. Can't use the missile-filling attack method. That's right, can't use it, the blonde-haired man said. Okay, no problem, Yang Hong nodded. Respected guest. Would you like to have a second round of the bet? The robot waiter suddenly asked. Yes, The blonde-haired man replied resentfully, then painfully transferred another million. Chapter 198. Can you stop being a scoundrel? Yang Hong also transferred 1 million star coins. Since the other party had already spoken, and missile attacks were no longer an option, Yang Hong had to find another way. That's it. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Flying mechas not only required applications to take off, but even their airspace was designated, preventing them from flying freely. In that case, why not fly to their heart's content in the virtual battlefield? Thinking it, he immediately began modifying his flying mech. He first removed the unnecessary parts, and then started continuously adding energy backpacks. Normally, 1 unit of energy for a mech could power it for at least a day, but on the virtual platform, this time was shortened to 2 hours. Even in a prolonged battle, 2 hours was enough to resolve the situation. However, Yang Hong was not one to play by the rules. He added 3 more energy units. For these 3 units of energy, he even disassembled almost all his weapons, only carrying 1 basic weapon accessory, a machine gun. Short range, but with ample ammunition. Ready. Go. The second battle began. Huh? What's going on? The battle had just begun when the blonde-haired guy saw the bulky mech on the other side and was stunned. But soon, his eyes widened. Although the mech was bulky, it was still a flying mech. Whoosh, the engine started, and the mech began to ascend vertically, quickly reaching high altitude. Holy crap, the blonde-haired guy's mouth twitched uncontrollably, and his face turned green. What bulky? It was clearly energy components. And there was more than one. Seeing the flying mech take off, the blonde-haired guy's eyes welled up with tears. How could he fight like this? Couldn't they stop being so unfair? He almost shouted. At this moment, the blonde-haired guy really wanted to rush out of the virtual pod and give Yang Hong a good scolding. However, it seemed that apart from instructing against the use of missile attacks, he hadn't mentioned that flying mechas couldn't stay at high altitudes for too long. Okay, the blonde-haired guy admitted defeat. However, he quickly looked up again and started operating the controls with both hands. HMPH. Luckily, I prepared a long-range laser cannon. I refuse to believe that a mere LV1 newbie can't jump down. Yellow Hair gritted his teeth. At this moment, Yellow Hair had no intention of holding back. He was determined to blast Yang Hong down to gain the upper hand and earn back his million. The laser cannon appeared, aimed, and fired. Whoosh! A huge beam of light shot straight at the flying mech. But just then, the flying mech in mid-air seemed to malfunction. Suddenly, its engine shut down, and it fell quite a distance. It narrowly avoided the laser shot. Yellow Hair was dumbfounded. Consider yourself lucky, Yellow Hair sneered coldly. He prepared for a second round of firing with a gloomy face. Clang clang clang. Clang clang clang. Suddenly, a strange sound appeared, and with the sound, the virtual pod flashed red. Hit. Yellow Hair was stunned, feeling puzzled. Before he could react, another series of clanging sounds rang out, followed by a deafening roar as the virtual pod simulated a massive shockwave. Damn it, the mech is damaged. Yellow Hair frowned deeply, his gaze immediately sweeping across the display screen. PFFT, just one glance, and he immediately coughed up blood. The overall damage to the mech wasn't significant, only one component was damaged. Negligible for the entire machine. But, damn it, that component was precisely the long-range laser cannon, the mech's only long-range weapon. He looked up and saw the flying mech's engine had been restored, slowly climbing. Yellow Hair cried. Damn it, how could he fight like this? Although the opponent's flying mech was only equipped with a single, crappy machine gun, it had 3 sets of energy components. As long as it stayed high in the air, he could wear down the opponent's mech until it ran out of energy. At that point, the outcome would be decided. Snap. Yellow Hair had no choice but to signal surrender, directly admitting defeat. Stepping out of the virtual pod again, Yellow Hair's face was ashen. With a whoosh, the robotic attendant, faster than him, arrived at Yang Hong's virtual pod. Dear guest, congratulations on winning the bet. After deducting 1%, you have 1.98 million left, which has been transferred to your account. The blonde-haired man's eyes twitched. Damn it, another million gone. The robotic attendant spun around and came to the blonde-haired man again. Dear guest, would you like to proceed with a third bet? Proceed to a third bet. The blonde-haired man almost kicked the robot. He approached Yang Hong's virtual pod again, his face grim. How could you admit defeat? Yang Hong asked, his expression displeased. You think I wanted to admit defeat? I've lost my weapon. How could I not? The blonde-haired man remained silent, his face dark. I've prepared 3 sets of energy components, and I'm about to have an aerial battle. The blonde-haired man gritted his teeth, his eyes practically shooting out murderous intent. Prepared 3 sets of energy components? And planning an aerial battle? This is a battle. And $1 million bet at that. How can you be so shameless? However, this wasn't the time to break off relations. 2 million had already been given away, and he was still eager to recoup his losses. No more shameless tactics in the fight. Hong Bao and Liang Weihong almost burst out laughing, their shoulders shaking uncontrollably. Shameless tactics? Yang Hong was completely bewildered. That's right, we're challengers, here to exchange experiences and techniques. How can we exchange techniques and experiences if you keep using shameless tactics? The blonde-haired man's tone grew increasingly harsh, and his face became increasingly grim. However, when it came to shameless tactics, Yang Hong genuinely didn't know what constituted shameless tactics. In response, the blonde-haired man, with a stern face, laid out his rules. Since you're using an aerial mech, I'll set a few rules. First, the use of missile walls is prohibited. Second, aerial mechas are prohibited from staying in the air for extended periods. Third, before the blonde-haired man could finish his third point, Yang Hong objected, I'm piloting an aerial mech. If you don't let me stay in the air, is it still an aerial mech? I'm not preventing you from staying in the air, I've just imposed some restrictions. You can only stay in the air for a maximum of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, your mech must return to the ground for a period of time, and it can't be less than 3 minutes, the blonde-haired man said. Not less than 3 minutes? I might as well just stay on the ground and not fly in the air at all, Yang Hong complained. That would be best, the blonde-haired man nodded. Damn it. Yang Hong almost cursed out loud. He was actually being forced to stay on the ground. I'm an amphibious mech, and I don't have any anti-aircraft weapons. If you keep flying in the air without coming down, how am I supposed to attack? The blonde-haired man retorted. That seemed to make sense. Yang Hong seemed to understand. Wait a minute. Yang Hong tilted his head. You can also operate flying mechas. If he knew how to operate flying mechas, he would have been doing it long ago. The blonde-haired man's face darkened slightly. Is chapter 199 really LV1? Yang Hong accepted Wang Mao's request, wanting to see the guy's true strength. With a wave of his hand, another $1 million was transferred. When it was Wang Mao's turn, his fingers trembled as he transferred the money. Although he had intended to let Yang Hong win, he hadn't held back in the first 2 rounds, allowing Yang Hong to win through underhanded tactics. This third round was nerve-wracking. If Yang Hong won another round, he'd be at a huge loss. 3 million. That included their tuition and living expenses. If they couldn't get it back, they wouldn't be able to stay at the Mecha Virtual Center, and might even have to drop out. No more underhanded tactics. You promised me you wouldn't fly high into the sky. Remember, it has to be real, face to face, Wang Mao repeatedly emphasized. Alright, Yang Hong scoffed, waving his hand. It's just a virtual battle, is it really that big of a deal? Ready. Go. The third battle began. This time, Yang Hong's flying mech didn't even bring any firearms, only a standard large sword. Upon seeing this, the blonde-haired man immediately perked up. He frantically operated his hands, and the amphibious mech roared forward as if on drugs. Alright, since you're using melee weapons, I'll use mine too. Let me give this LV1 newbie a good beating, the blonde-haired man grinned maliciously. Clang. The massive longsword flashed, and the amphibious mech raised it. At that moment, the flying mech also flashed its longsword and charged towards him. HMPH. LV1 newbie didn't even watch the tutorial, just won 2 matches using underhanded tactics. Next, I'll give you a good beating and teach you a lesson, the blonde-haired man sneered inwardly. The 2 matches quickly clashed. Huh? The blonde-haired man let out a soft exclamation, and the screen in the virtual reality pod went black. He blinked, black, still completely black. He rubbed his eyes again, and finally, the light returned. You lost? Holy crap. Yellowhair's eyes widened. What on earth had happened? He leaped out of the virtual pod once more. At that moment, the robotic attendant was a step ahead of him again. Dear guest, congratulations on your victory in the bet. After deducting 1%, you have 1.98 million left, which has been transferred to your account. PFFT. Yellowhair looked up, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. He lost? He lost again? But how the hell did he lose? Clearly, without a clear explanation, he couldn't find a reason to refute it. He sat back in the virtual pod and hurriedly reviewed the battle replay. This time, he watched it from his own perspective first. Yes, it was exactly like that, a collision. Seeing the two mechas collide, Yellowhair's brows furrowed. Because after the collision, his screen went black, and he didn't even know how it went black. Helpless, he could only review the replay again, this time choosing Yang Hong's perspective. The two mechas collided, the flying mech raised its hand, its blade falling, the movement swift and fluid, cleaving the amphibious mech in two with a single strike. Yellowhair's eyes twitched. Was his opponent even a level 1 newbie? And one who hadn't even watched the tutorial? How could he make such clean and smooth movements? Remembering Yang Hong's casual tapping of the control panel, unleashing a screen-filling attack like a missile wall, his face darkened. He simply couldn't believe Yang Hong possessed extraordinary strength. This must be a fluke. Yellowhair muttered. Just then, the robotic attendant approached the virtual pod again. Respected guest, would you like to proceed with a fourth round of the betting? Proceed with a fourth round. Yellowhair gritted his teeth. He'd already lost 3 million, another round? He'd just rushed out of the virtual pod when he suddenly stopped, his eyes darting around. He waved to the other two. How many star coins do you have left? The two exchanged glances. Brother Yellowhair, you've been throwing the game. We've lost 3 rounds already, we don't have much money left. Yeah, if we lose again, we won't even have money for food. Throw the game? Throw the game my ass. Yellowhair's face darkened. That guy was definitely just lucky. No, he just stumbled upon incredible fortune. Who the hell was the lucky one? He was just momentarily caught off guard. Give it to me first. I don't believe you can really turn the tables, Yellowhair said. The two men remained silent, clearly unwilling. Don't forget, when Brother Tong arrives, that guy will have to hand over his money obediently, won't he? We're just trying to make a small profit now to fill our pockets, Yellowhair said in a low voice. Are you really sure you can win? Will Brother Tong really share the money with us? Of course I can win. Didn't you all see it? That guy didn't even look at the tutorial. Those few battles were definitely just pure luck. As long as I use all my skills, I can definitely win easily, Yellowhair said, lowering his voice again. Brother Tong is a big shot in the underworld, he wouldn't go back on his word. 30%, that'll be at least 100 million for us. Let me tell you, if you don't hand over your money, I definitely won't divide it equally among everyone later, okay? 400 million in share. The two gritted their teeth and gave all the money they had to Wang Mao. The three of them pooled their money and barely managed to scrape together 1 million. The robot waiter's voice rang out again. Dear guests, would you like to proceed with a fourth round of betting? Of course. Wang Mao immediately waved his hand and transferred another 1 million. By the way, you two go over there and see if that guy is using any underhanded tactics. If he is, we can back out of our bet. The two nodded simultaneously and strode over to Yang Hong's virtual pod. Seeing Wang Mao continue betting, Yang Hong didn't hesitate and also transferred 1 million. It was obviously a money-making opportunity. How could he not continue? Before the battle even started, seeing 2 more figures in front of the virtual pod, Yang Hong picked his nose. What are you guys doing? The two didn't say a word. Hong Bao and Liang Weihuang immediately came behind the 2 men and gestured to Yang Hong, assuring him that the two wouldn't interfere with the operation. Yang Hong nodded. Soon, the 4th battle began again. This battle was just like the previous one. The 2 mechas immediately raised their long swords and began to clash. The same old trick again. How boring, Yang Hong snorted. However, since they were there to throw money away, he didn't need to be polite. He immediately operated the flying mech and once again swung his sword. The amphibious mech was once again cut in 2. The battle was won, and the robot waiter immediately brought over the betting money. The 2 men looked at each other, both seeing tears in each other's eyes. The fast and smooth operation, the decisive and direct attack method, was this really a level 1 newbie? If Yang Hong was a level 1 newbie, then they had to admit that they were definitely newbies below level 1. Damn it, the blonde guy seemed to have picked the wrong betting opponent. 1 million, the only 1 million the 3 of them had, was gone again. Chapter 200. Just you wait, Brother Tong is coming soon. Dear guest, congratulations on your victory in the bet. After deducting 1%, you have 1.98 million left. Before the robot could finish speaking, The blonde-haired man leaped out of the virtual pod and kicked it clang. The robot spun twice in midair. A series of crackling sounds followed, and it crashed. What the hell? Yang Hong also leaped out of the virtual pod. The account hadn't even been transferred back yet. It was 1.98 million, including his million. You cheated. The blonde-haired man's eyes were red. This round doesn't count. Cheated. Yang Hong's face darkened. Hong Bao and Liang Weihong also came over, suddenly surrounding the blonde-haired man. You definitely cheated. You're only LV1, how could you kill me in one move? The blonde-haired man gritted his teeth. Damn it, it's obviously just bad skill, and you're accusing me of cheating? Yang Hong was furious. Give it to me, show me the evidence of my cheating, or you'll be sorry. You two, come here. Yellow Hair beckoned to the two men he had sent to watch Yang Hong. Tell me, how did he cheat? The two men looked at each other. Cheating? What cheating? They could see it too. It was obvious that Yellow Hair's skills were lacking. However, of the 4 million Yellow Hair had spent, they had a share. If they couldn't get it back, they wouldn't be able to afford meals later, and they wouldn't even be able to go to school. Because that was their tuition and food expenses for the next few days. But when it came to producing evidence of Yang Hong's cheating, the two men looked at each other, speechless. At this moment, the beautiful woman called Sister Key also walked into the private room. Seeing the malfunctioning robot on the floor, her face darkened instantly. In fact, from the moment Yellow Hair and his two companions entered Yang Hong's private room, she had already guessed what was going to happen, but she chose to ignore it. She knew what kind of person Yellow Hair was. However, even though Yang Hong's clothes were quite ordinary, she didn't dare to underestimate him. After all, someone carrying over 1 billion yuan couldn't be an ordinary person. A scoundrel like Wang Mao deserved to be taught a lesson. But unexpectedly, before he could even be taught a lesson, her robot was the first to suffer. Wang Mao's voice was loud, and since Sister Key hadn't closed the door after entering the private room, it attracted a large crowd. What happened? I don't know, I just got here too, huh? It's Wang Mao. This guy is definitely bullying the newbie again, am I seeing things? Sister Key's robot was also damaged. HMPH, it's obviously Wang Mao's doing. This is going to be interesting, the crowd whispered among themselves. What exactly happened? Sister Key asked sternly. And what did my robot do to deserve this? Wang Mao and Yang Hong spoke in unison, pointing at each other. You go first, Sister Key said, pointing at Yang Hong with a stern face. After all, Yang Hong was a special person with over 1 billion yuan in assets. He wouldn't fabricate anything. This guy came to challenge me to a bet, lost, and then refused to pay, even kicking the robot away, Yang Hong said. By the way, I haven't received the bet money yet. Sister Key stared at the blonde-haired man, her face ashen. You tell me. Before the blonde-haired man could speak, the crowd erupted in discussion again. Sure enough, it really was the blonde-haired man's fault, exactly. Last time a newbie came, and they bullied him terribly. Yeah, I was there too. That newbie left crying. Wait a minute, would the blonde-haired man renege on his bet? He always goes easy on newbies, how could he possibly renege? Maybe the blonde-haired man just had bad luck. Exactly, haven't you heard of a novice beating a master? It must be that the bet was too high, and the newbie was too lucky, so the blonde-haired man planned to renege. The crowd's voices were quite loud. The blonde-haired man heard everything and was furious. Who said I renege on my bet? The blonde-haired man angrily swept his gaze around at the surrounding crowd. He cheated. He cheated. He cheated on Battle.net, the blonde-haired man exclaimed PFFT. Several onlookers immediately burst out laughing. Cheating? Cheating on Battle.net? How could that be? Battle.net is controlled by both the military and the Star Palace. So far, there have been accounts banned, but no one has ever been heard of cheating. Has this blonde-haired man lost his mind, saying something like that? Sister Key's face grew increasingly grim. Cheating? Where's the evidence? Yang Hong grumbled. You two, tell me quickly, how exactly did he cheat? The blonde-haired man roared at his two subordinates. The two looked at each other again. Fortunately, they weren't stupid, they immediately came up with a plan. One of them pointed at Yang Hong. He pretended to be a newbie, his skill level isn't even LV1. Yes, that's right, he definitely has the skill of LV5 or higher. PFFT, the blonde-haired man was about to vomit blood. He wanted evidence of cheating. How did he get evidence of pretending to be a newbie? An LV5 at that? What? It's just a technical problem, I thought it was just a stroke of luck. No wonder Wang Mao wanted to renege on his debt. He's just not skilled enough. The crowd roared with laughter. Sister Qi looked at Wang Mao and sneered. However, that was no longer her concern. Right now, she only cared about one thing: how to compensate for the damaged robot. Wang Mao, it seems like you're the one who kicked my robot and broke it. Wang Mao didn't answer. My robot cost 500,000 to buy, and the debugging fee was around 300,000. I won't ask for more, just pay me 800,000 star coins. Sister Qi held out her hand. Wait, Yang Hong panicked. His money was still with the robot and hadn't been transferred back. After understanding, Sister Qi immediately waved to another robot. The robot's betting system is connected to the internet. You'll get your money back. Seeing that Sister Qi was about to debug the robot and transfer the betting money to Yang Hong, Wang Mao immediately stepped forward and stopped Sister Qi. This guy cheated. This round doesn't count. Cheated, Sister Qi sneered. She had already figured out what was going on. Without saying a word, she went straight to Yang Hong's virtual pod and pulled up a recording. The recording was connected to a large display screen on the side. It started playing the previous battle, with a perspective on Yang Hong's side. Seeing the fleeting result of the battle, the onlookers burst into laughter. Cheating? It was obvious that the blonde guy's skills were lacking. He was cut in half in a single exchange. Seeing the result, the blonde guy's face turned as red as a monkey's bottom. With Sister Qi's intervention, the bet money was quickly transferred to Yang Hong's electronic bracelet. Another million gone. The blonde guy's face turned green, and now he also owed Sister Qi 800,000 in robot loss fees. Let me tell you, if you can't come up with the money, don't even think about leaving this room, Sister Qi declared. HMPH, Yellow Hair gritted his teeth and sneered, my older brother is coming soon. Once he arrives, I'll give it to you, and you lot, don't even think about leaving here. He looked at Red Bao. Aren't you from the Wild Wolf Gang? Perfect timing, my older brother is also from the Wild Wolf Gang. Wait until he gets here, you'll see, the Wild Wolf Gang? Some of the onlookers who knew the inside story quietly laughed. Sister Qi's face also turned ugly. Bonus chapter today. Haven't voted in a while. Extra chapter for Baoheezy's readers. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.